All right, let's eat, boys. Good morning. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Time to get after it on a Thursday. I would say time to get our heads right, but I don't see a lot of right heads out there on my social media feed. Don't see a lot in my DMs. Don't see a lot in my text messages from people that I know and love. People are losing their minds, and it's the San Diego Padres' fault. Well, actually, it should be. It's my fault, and it's Ben's fault, and it's Sammy Lev's fault. When our fan base reaches the point of blaming Sammy Lev for literally anything, you know it's over. It's over. Sam Levitt, the hardest working guy maybe in this town, the guy that is the least controversial, the guy that is the just the steward of our team. When he starts catching shrapnel, it's over. Season's done. You blew it. Okay? So we're going to get into all this. Matt Kemp, what in the ever-loving F happened to you? What happened to you, man? This is unbelievable. What a Mamba mentality from Matt Kemp. Talk about him. Talk about all kinds of stuff that transpired last night up in Anaheim and really the last few nights. Pretty pathetic, to say the least. And to be honest, the play was pathetic, but so have been some of the reactions. So we'll talk about all of it. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Ryle. He's the EP, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Benny catching massive amounts of heat last night. Unwarranted heat, in my opinion.
Tough day yesterday.
It was a rough one.
Oh, no, I don't mean the Padres. I meant I went to the dentist and learned I have a touch of gingivitis. And that's devastating. I take good care of my teeth.
Yeah, you do. I see your teeth every day. Your teeth are they're pearly white. You're on the news.
I don't know what I've done wrong, but the dentist said, you're just going to have to work a little harder at cleaning out the plaque in between.
Do you floss?
Yeah, I floss.
What do you use? Do you use floss or do you use like the
dental tape?
Picks?
Like the
picks?
No, I use floss.
Okay.
Gingivitis. He said it's not a full-blown case of gum disease, but you do have a touch of gingivitis. You're going to have to address that.
Yeah, we're just getting old.
Do the Padres have gum disease or just a little gingivitis? I think that's the question here. Is this a full-blown case? Are we looking at dentures? Are we going to have to replace the teeth completely?
I don't think I want to see a case
Or do they just need to floss a little bit better, and once they do, things will be just fine in the future?
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this team, but I know it's the media's fault. That's one thing. And I hate coming in and feeling on the defensive, but when you see stuff that comes out like yesterday, some of the DMs I got, some of the weird takes, I understand, man. When things go poorly, we all want to look for a reason and a scapegoat. But I'm not going to apologize for the Ben and Woods program. We just do our show. We've always done it this way. We're going to continue to do it this way. And I don't think it has one iota of effect on Jurickson Profar. I don't think Jurickson Profar is playing well because we were nice to him. And I don't think somebody's playing poorly because we're not hard enough on him. I just don't. And I will always believe that because, again, I sat in here yesterday and talked about being accountable and being accountable for your own actions. And then you saw the clip. Let's just get right into the Matt Kemp because I couldn't believe this. I mean, what a way to kick off the show. Matt Kemp was on a podcast.
Hang on one second.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Paulie's going to find it. Matt Kemp was on a podcast I'd never heard of yesterday, but they were talking baseball and his career. And he had something to say that just blew me away. Now, you covered Matt Kemp when I did not. I was next door playing Walk the Moon and Capital Cities, and I watched every Padres game. When they acquired Matt Kemp, my initial thought that day was, isn't he ravaged by injury? Isn't he really high-priced and not healthy? What a weird move for A.J. Preller to make. That was my initial thought before I covered this team. It did not go well for Matt Kemp here in San Diego. I realize he did bring a cycle. Big effing deal about a cycle. What happened with Matt Kemp?
My sense is that Matt Kemp, when the Padres acquired him, as AJ has done a number of times, trying to change the narrative of who are the San Diego Padres. Make a splash, bring in a player with some experience and credibility. When Matt Kemp arrived, though, he got to a place that was not that was still trapped in the cycle of this is a losing organization, a losing team, and a losing franchise. And he never adapted. He was still a Dodger. He was a Dodger playing in Padres uniforms when he came down
here. A wolf in sheep's clothing.
He never embraced the fact that he's on a different organization now. He's going to have to take a different role. He just brought his Dodgerness down to San Diego and put on a Padres jersey.
Yeah, didn't want to be here really, right? Didn't play well when he was here. So let's hear what he had to say yesterday.
I got traded to Atlanta from San Diego. Man, I was like super happy because I wanted to get out of San Diego because it was weird. It was just weird vibes. I just don't think San Diego is one of them places that like. San Diego's a beautiful place, but just like for me at that time, a baseball player, there like I was used to like being in LA and people holding you accountable, especially the media. Yeah. Like the media be like, "Hey, why you suck right now?" Where you be like, "All right, man, I gotta get these motherfuckers off my back."
Oh.
Like in San Diego, the first month and a half, I was terrible. I'm at my locker like this. Nobody bothering me, asking me questions. I was like, I need to go somewhere where it like matters.
So getting to Atlanta though.
So I would suck. No one would be at my locker to ask me why I sucked. So let's. I feel like a time to kill right now. Let's break that down for a second. You needed Kevin Acee. Who was the beat writer back then?
Back then, might have been Tom Krasovic from the UT.
Okay,
and
Tom.
It was probably Dennis, actually, at the UT.
Dennis. Okay. That might have been when he was still with the UT. So
Corey Brock was MLB.com.
So you suck. Admittedly, and then because Dennis Lin wasn't there to ask you, what's your problem? You're like, man, this is, I need these guys to motivate me.
Well, he just admitted. He knew. He already knew he sucked.
Right.
He knew I said, I'm playing terrible, but no one's there to ask me why. But you already know you're playing terrible.
Right. And get on him a little bit. I mean, okay, so, again, I heard that clip. I listened to it a few times yesterday. I don't know that the fever pitch for the San Diego Padres, I mean, it kind of restarted there when AJ started trying to acquire a lot of talent and bring it in. But to me, I looked at that and said, you want to go somewhere where it really matters, right? The fans respond to players that play well, and the fans respond to players that embrace the city. The fans respond to players that bust their ass for the franchise and realize I'm a big leaguer. I just got traded here. They see something in me. They value me. You didn't value us? That's not our fault. That is not the fault. Also, Todd Strain from NBC yesterday tweeted, didn't Matt Kemp have like a big recliner that he dragged into Andy Green's office where he would sit where the media wasn't allowed? Let's get the full context here of Matt Kemp and his time in San Diego. Again, I wasn't here. I was here, but I wasn't covering that team. But I mean, I've had
this. Whatever Matt Kemp said has nothing to do with this team.
Zero whatsoever.
Zero. At the time, there was excitement. Rockstar GM.
Yeah, dude, it was catching on.
There was a new excitement about the Padres, but there was no, established culture of fandom even surrounding the Padres coming into that season. Now, there's no way anyone can argue that Petco Park isn't one of the most dynamic, electric places to play baseball. Sold out almost every single day. The fans are loud. The fans are into it. It's as good of a baseball environment and city now as anywhere in America, and the players will tell you that. So there's no excuse to say that, San Diego, it's just laid-back place and I didn't feel it. No, that's not what it's like anymore. So that's not an excuse that this team. I will lose my mind if someone on this team right now said
that.
Hey,
yeah.
I just wish fans and media cared more here in San Diego. No one's cared more about the Padres in the history of the Padres than they do
right now.
These last couple of seasons.
And his numbers weren't actually terrible in 2015. And when he got traded to the Braves, they actually fell off. They actually fell off from his numbers here in San Diego. So I don't know, man. I think I saw that yesterday and I went, geez, Matt, like
he had a lot of the same traits as Eric Hosmer, and especially when you look back at their Padres tenure, it's like, bro, you just said it. You ran from the media. Like when Hosmer says, "Oh, I wish I had a platform."
You had
like,
it.
bro. You had all the platforms you could want.
I would have given I would have given you the 7 a.m. hour every day of our show. We tried so hard to get Eric Hosmer on.
Matt Kemp is essentially admitting what I think we all felt at the time. He viewed going from the Dodgers to the Padres as a demotion to the minor leagues. He was getting paid like a big leaguer, but he felt like he was going from a big league team to a minor league team in San Diego. And he treated it that way. He treated it that way. Not that he didn't, have some good games and produce, but he treated just the atmosphere. He just felt like, I'm now in a minor league city. I was in a big league city in Los Angeles. Now I'm in a minor league city in San Diego.
That's a minor league state of mind, I think. And I don't know Matt Kemp personally. I think he was a good player when he was with the Dodgers, and I think he had a good season when he was here. And I know I sure was excited to get him here. I was. But his body had broken down, and his career declined after that. I don't think it's the fault of the Padres media. I don't think it's the fault of the Atlanta media. I don't think it's the fault of the Reds media who he went to. I don't think it's the fault of the Colorado media who he went to. I really don't. And, here's the funny thing. I hate the media. I hate sports media. I think it's ridiculous and toxic and performative. But I have to defend it when stupid stuff like this and when Cameron Maybin comes out and says, no, you've got to call people names and scream at the players for them to do better. Problem with this city has been this. For the last 6 years, it was Andy Green's fault. Then it was Jace Tingler's fault. Then it was Bob Melvin's fault. And now it's Mike Schilt's fault. No one's blaming the players. It's the players' fault. There is 26 guys responsible for this record right now. And damn near 26 guys alone. They all wear jerseys with their number on their back and their name. That's it. It's the only fault. The only fault should fall on the players. Could Mike Schilt have pushed a different button here or two? Of course. Of course. Every manager could. Rob Thompson in Philly probably could have won a few more games. He hasn't lost a bunch, but he hasn't pushed every right button. It's on the players and the players alone. All of them. Every single one. It's bonehead base running, lazy errors, terrible decisions, uncompetitive at bats, uncompetitive pitches. It's on them. It's not Mike Schilt's fault that Yuki Matsui can't throw a ball in the zone. It's not Ben Fritz's fault. It's not Ruben Niebla's fault. It's Yuki Matsui's fault. It's Luis Arraez's fault for running into that out last night. That's whose fault it is, and that's whose fault it always will be.
Okay, you've just held two players accountable right there. Luis Arraez and Yuki Matsui.
I mean, it changed the Arraez's play last night, and I love him, but it took us right out of the game. Right out of the game. It's not my fault Manny's leading the Major League Baseball in double play. It's Manny's fault. It's not anyone's fault but the players. So when you blame me or Ben or Sammy Levitt or the Padres front office, no, it's on the players. It's on them. It always has been on them. It always will be on them. That's it. I mean, I don't know how to be any clearer about that. And when you start pointing fingers at other people, it's exactly what the players want. It's exactly what they want. They have to play.
At the same time, I don't think the answer is now, well, you got to bench Luis Arraez because he made a mistake.
Absolutely not.
He made a mistake.
Bro,
and it was a costly one.
That is that thing. That's that thing where...
Does that mean your organization doesn't have any accountability, though? When players make mistakes and they're not punished some way for those mistakes, are you now lacking accountability? What are you supposed to do on a big league level when one of your best players makes a costly mistake? How do you respond to that as a manager, a general manager? You know he's one of your best players.
Correct.
He made a mistake. So now what's the accountability for that?
And that's always the most fascinating question. Does he go, I can't do it. I can't go chew Luis Arraez out for his base running, right? Right? That's fair. I think you can ask him, what happened there? What were you doing? And we're going to talk to Schilt tomorrow. And I'm going to ask Mike Schilt straight up. You keep saying that you trust their instincts on the base path. Why? I see them run into a lot of outs. I see them with plays right in front of them run into outs. I've seen some questionable sends, but listen, man, those can go 50-50. I get it. You never know where the ball's going to go. Is it going to carry them off the catcher's knee? You take chances there. I'm fine being aggressive. I'm not fine being reckless. And I've seen more reckless behavior instead of aggressive. Now, what do you do, Mike, with a big leaguer? Do you bring out Luis Ariz today to the field and go, okay,
Hey, I want you there at 2 o'clock.
I want you to get a good secondary here, Luis. You got to make sure, right? Are you teaching them? Because I don't think you do. I think you.
I also don't think you should.
Exactly. They're pros. I think you can say, hey, guys, let's red light tonight. Let's see what we can do offensively before we start running into outs. That's something I think you can do. But you said it off the air. Are you then hamstringing your team?
I don't know. The way this team hits. If you're telling them you got to back off aggression on the base path, so, all right, so we need 4 singles now to score a run if we're not going to be aggressive on the base paths. You don't get 4 hits in an inning that often in Major League Baseball.
For sure.
And you're not getting tons of extra base hits, so now you're asking your team to do the nearly impossible to put together rallies. Yeah, they did it in Kansas City. They got 11 hits in an inning. Wake me up when that happens again. You know, we'll probably be old and very gray by the time that ever happens again. So if you're going to hit a lot of singles, if you're going to be a team that's putting the ball in play, making contact, you have to be aggressive on the base paths, or you're just sitting there first, second, third, home. That's not a recipe for an effective offense.
No, it's not. I mean, but again, the thing that's hysterical, and I love Alex. Alex is in our chat every day, but he says, Machado, Musgrove, Xander, and you contract will hurt us for years. That's what needs to be talked about. It has been. It has been ad nauseum. But, Alex, what are you going to do about it? What can you do about it? Nothing. You're hamstrung. That's why I said before the season started. Being a fan is the team giving you a bowl and saying, eat it or don't.
It's not like the Padres held an open forum before those contracts and said, hey, this is what we're about to do.
You guys agree?
Yay or nay, let's talk about it. It's already happened. There's nothing you can do about it.
Of Musgrove, hurt. Machado just got hurt yesterday. Is there anyone that you wouldn't want on the team right now? Like, if you could just say goodbye, and does that make the team better to get rid of Manny Machado? No, of course not.
That being said, if you could say to the fan base, if you gave them the opportunity to say, cut them all and you don't lose any money, they probably would. So, and that's your prerogative. I'm keeping those guys. I'm going to ride with those guys. That being said, I can understand, but you cannot change those contracts. Those contracts are done. You got to look forward. Looking behind is going to kill you. It's just going to kill you. There you go. That's it. I'm done.
Is that foreplay? I don't even know.
This is like the most aggressive foreplay of all time.
All right, we'll set the menu for the show. That was like our longest opening segment ever. And we'll come back on a Throwback Thursday, a Roundtable Thursday. That'll get spicy. Coming up at 10 o'clock today with Bennett Woods, Paul Rindle. Let's check traffic with Kelly here on San Diego's number one sports station. Oh, Vicky Pepper. I did get an email that Kelly was going to be out. Thank you. Vicky, in today with traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Oh, I almost brought a bottle of Basil Hayden in today, which is a delicious whiskey.
I've seen that. I don't think I've ever tried it before.
It's really good. And it was just going to pour us all a glass. We could sit back and clink our glasses together. And then I thought, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. And
Hey, that losing streak turns to 5. Maybe tomorrow morning we
deal.
break it out.
All right, deal.
Is it basil or basil?
I think I thought it was basil.
I don't know.
Basil.
I know, like in
basil.
England,
Yeah, we
when
all saw Austin Powers.
Spelled basil.
God, we watched
It's pronounced basil.
Hello, Basil.
London, England.
Yeah, no. I was like, man, I need to have like a shot of something to get going today. But yeah, if they lose tonight, holy smokes, that will be 5 straight. And
Which will be the second time they've lost 5 in a row this year. They have this is their second 4-game losing streak as well. Last time it was surrounding that sweep by the Philadelphia Phillies. A little more understandable than getting swept by the Rockies or the Angels, certainly. But after that 5-game losing streak, they ran off 4 wins in a row and began that current stretch where they had won, 8 out of their last 12 series, had been 8 of 11 before they went to Anaheim. Can they snap and turn on a dime again when they come home tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks? Kind of have to. They've already shown that they can do it and did it once. Will they be able to do it again and just turn around after a stretch of very poor play and go on a nice, 2-3 week run of good play again?
Boring again. I mean, just as mid and boring as a baseball game could be last night. And again, I'm going to die on the hill today that's a different ball game entirely if that first inning doesn't happen. It just sucked all the air out of the team. And then you start to get those feelings of 2023 where it's like, all right, that's it. We're done. I mean, and I saw that so much in 2023, so much. And this year I hadn't really seen the give up Padres until recently. Recently, the give-up Padres have been like the little groundhog that pokes his head out of the ground. They're like, hey, we're still here too, San Diego and all that. And I know
have you seen it before this 4-game losing streak? Because they had won 5 of 6 going into these last 4 games.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like early in the season, I saw, we're not going to give up, we're not going to quit. And listen, again, they had chances last night to
the
win that game.
The one loss was that one in Miami.
Correct.
That was an ugly loss.
Stunk.
The last 5 losses have all been really brutal.
They have been terrible.
There was the 9-1 loss to the Marlins.
Awful.
Which you threw out a little bit because it came surrounded by 5 wins. And now the last 4 in a row, starting with Sunday. I mean, going into the 9th inning on Sunday in Kansas City, you could argue that Padres were at their high point of the season. They had, looking for a sweep of Kansas City, looking to go a season-high 4 games above 500, had a lead of 3-1 going into that inning. Things were never better for the San Diego Padres than they were 3.5 days ago. Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure.
3.5 days ago, Sunday afternoon in Kansas City. That was the high point going into the 9th inning. About to win your 3rd straight, about to go 4 games above 500 for the first time this season. Everything was finally coming together and heading in a positive direction. And then Yuki Matsui came in, blew the game, and since then, now we feel like we're at a low point of the season. Maybe not record-wise, but it feels like this is the low point for the Padres now in 2024.
Yuki Matsui came in and blew the game because Stephen Kolek couldn't hold an 8-run lead. Stephen Kolek is on the team as a Rule 5 guy because A.J. Preller brought him in, won't give him up. Haven't seen him since, right? We haven't seen Stephen Kolek throw since. And now with Yuki being fairly ineffective, you get the chain reaction, and what that chain reaction is 4 straight losses. And listen, you're going to have to find a way to right the ship. And now you're coming home where you hate playing. I mean, it just doesn't bode well for this team right
maybe
now.
Playing badly on the road will
maybe the narrative flips.
Cure them of not playing well at home. I know people hate perspective.
Don't give any perspective. You cannot give perspective.
I mean, is it
the
not?
next words out of your mouth are if the playoffs.
No, it's not. It's is it worth mentioning that the Padres lost 4 games by a total of 5 runs?
No, it's not, because they should have won those games by like 14.
Well, yes, it makes it more frustrating. It absolutely makes it more frustrating. Is it cause for panic though?
Yes.
when you're losing just a bunch of close games, or is that part of a baseball season?
Do you not feel panicked? Because I feel panicked. Panicked is the right word for
I
what
don't
I feel.
panicked.
I feel panicked.
I don't.
did not feel panicked. You know what? I didn't really feel panicked after the Rockies series. I was pissed, but I was like, weird stuff like this happens in the course of a baseball season. And I even said, hey, man, teams that won the World Series, the friggin' the Rangers got swept by the Padres, and they won the World Series. The Padres were terrible at that time. It happens. Now, when it continues to happen, that's when the panic sits.
I guess what I was worried about this week with Joe Musgrove and
Joe Darvish
going on the injured list was that all of a sudden we'd see the Padres giving up 6, 7, 8 runs a game.
Pitching's been phenomenal.
And that would have been what I was going to panic about. Like, okay, the pitching depth is falling apart here, and they're not going to be competitive in these games because they don't have enough pitching. And that hasn't been the case at all. They have 4 consecutive quality starts. 3 were fantastic. Last night, obviously, Dylan Cease gave up the 2 home runs, but after that, gave up nothing. The pitching has been really good. The thing I was most worried about this week has been outstanding for the Padres. And I wasn't really worried about the hitting.
No.
The hitting looked great coming into this week.
And again,
I had no concerns about the offense.
What, just the lefty thing, but you thought that would filter out?
There were minor concerns, but that's not what I was kind of concerned about.
Sucks.
I don't know. It just wasn't what I was looking for this week at all.
It goes back to the overarching theme of this job and baseball fans. You don't know anything, and you can't prognosticate anything. Nothing. When you see at the beginning of the year, geez, dude, we got a whole lineup. 1 through 9 is right-handed hitters. We're dead against righties. We're dead. Everybody would have said that. You could have gone to MLB Network and said, look at this Padres lineup. What do you see? Every person, from Harold Reynolds to Mark DeRosa, down the line, they got no lefties. There's no lefties on this team. We got to get some lefties. No! We only hit right-handed pitching. So, again, Harold Reynolds, Ben Higgins, Stephen Woods, Hacksaw Hamilton, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
you don't know anything.
They faced a right-hander last night, and they did not score runs last night.
Correct.
Now, they made contact. They struck out once. It's weird.
They beat the ball into the ground.
Yeah.
They beat the ball in the ground all night. 9, 10 straight ground ball.
A lot of ground balls.
My son, who's 6, was like, hit it in the air. Try to get a home run, for the love of God. It's panic time.
But then they do that, and it's like, oh, great, swinging for the fences, and there's a bunch of warning track flies, and it's last year.
Soriano's
what's going on?
Ground ball to fly ball ratio is 13 ground balls to 2 fly balls.
How are you not panicked? I'm panicked.
I guess I'm not as panicked because I've accepted that this is who this team is.
Well, we've all said it. They're a 500 team,
Right.
and now we're all upset because they're playing like a 500 team.
And they'll win 3 out of 4 against the Diamondbacks, then they'll drop 2 out of 3 against the A's, and they'll be 1 game below 500 in a week. Mark my words. And they're gonna hit a bunch of ground balls, and they're not gonna hit a lot of home runs because through 65 games or whatever, this is who this team is.
This is what
we
they are.
learned that lesson last year. I can't harp that enough. After 60 games, you can learn who your team is.
Rob says trying to hit home runs leads to crappy at bats. You know what else it leads to? Leads to home runs, and we don't hit enough. We don't hit enough.
The lack of slug is something that I am concerned about.
No
doubt about
slug
it.
in like 3 years, it feels like. Since 22.
I mean, Juan Soto brought some slug.
Yep.
Manny hit 30 bombs last year. I thought this team would slug a little bit better than they have, and they just have not had a ton of slugging percentage. And that, I think, is a legit concern in addition to the left-handed thing. We'll talk about all of these issues, including on the roundtable, coming up at 10 o'clock. We do need to get to our Padres wrap-up. That's in our next segment. It's a lot of Padres talk. Our usual features, it is a Throwback Thursday, which means we'll play some real or fake for a chance to win those tickets to the Kings a late night at the San Diego County Fair in our 7 o'clock hour. It's an Eno Saris Smart Baseball Thursday. The Padres even defy Eno Saris' smartness usually, though, but we'll see what his perspective on all of this is at 8:35. That is coming up later on the program today, but Padres wrap up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah, I had the same idea as Jim Morrison. He said, I woke up this morning, got myself a beer. That was my exact same.
You were thinking.
I was thinking the same
Basil
thing.
Hayden's whiskey, but along those same lines.
Yeah, Roadhouse Blues. The Padres Blues have struck us all right here on June. What is it? I can't even read that. 6th?
Yeah.
6th.
June 6th. Apathy. Watching this team the last. I didn't even get mad.
It's funny because Friday and Saturday, I thought it was
fired up.
They looked
dude.
like the most exciting team in
100%,
baseball.
100%.
That's less than a week ago. Went in
and just smacked. And again, you almost lost an 11-3 lead in the 9th inning, so I understand. But, bro, to go into Kansas City and win those 2, I was like, yes, these guys are fitting their stride. They're going to go in. They're going to sweep this. They're going to dominate L.A., come back, and let's go ahead and knock the Arizona Diamondbacks out. Just boom, boom, boom. They're without Zach Gallen. Corbin Carroll's playing like Trent Grisham, basically at this point. Like, let's take it to these guys. We are about to go on a run. And once again, baseball steps up, heavy weighted boot, and kicks me right in the taint. Just, right in the middle. They didn't even get the boys. They got right between it, right in the taint. That's how I feel.
Speaking of L.A., the sportscaster in me cannot not mention, if you're just waking up, there was some big news this morning. It came out of the basketball world that the Lakers.
What are you doing?
Speaking of LA,
what are you doing?
Well, I just was stunned when I saw this. Like, people in basketball are legitimately stunned after it seemed like the Lakers were about to hire J.J. Redick. Now it looks like they're about to hire Dan Hurley from UConn as their new head coach.
Aztecs fans rejoice.
That's a good point. You don't have to face him potentially anymore in the NCAA tournament. If he goes to Los Angeles and takes over the Lakers, Woj is reporting a massive deal in the works for Dan Hurley to lure him from Connecticut to the Lakers.
That's bananas, man.
That's what everyone else in the country is talking about. We're talking about the Padres, though, and we'll get to our Padres wrap-up right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicky Pepper.
This report brought to you by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. In Oceanside, 15 south of the 76, several large rocks and lanes. A bunch of cars have already hit them and have had to pull over. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Pepper with Ben & Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
Oh, a shame indeed.
It's a complete crap.
Oh, I did not like that.
Here are the lowlights from yesterday's game.
Are you kidding me?
Boo.
It's the Padres wrap-up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
It's not your fault.
2-2 to Shawnuel. Cease will deliver. And the pitch is swung on, sent in the air, high and deep to right center. Maryland Tatis are both back at the wall, looking up, gonna go. Home run for Nolan Shawnuel. His 6th of the year, a leadoff shot. And the Angels take a 1-0 lead. O'Hoppy's small lead at first. The 1-1 pitch hit in the air to deep left field. Profar's backing up. Still going back. At the wall. Jumps up. Gonna go. Second homer of the night for the Angels. This one a 2-run shot for Neto. They lead it 3-0 here in the second. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Blew a fastball right past him. 98 miles an hour. 4th strikeout of the night. And a second straight 1-2-3 inning for Dylan Cease. Here's a hard hit grounder the other way. That's a fair ball up the third baseline. Campusano rounding second, going to try. Ward will come up throwing, not in time. And into second goes Arise as the ball goes over toward the Padre dugout. Campusano will score. Arise goes to third. And just like that, the Padres are on the board. Here's the pitch. Fernando swings, loops it into shallow right. Adele charging, tried to make the underhand catch and couldn't. Left it on the grass. Arise will score. It's a 1-run game in the 6th. 3-2 Angels in the 9th. Ha-Seong Kim to face Matt Moore. Will walk against him last night. First pitch swinging and a pop-up. Left side of the infield. Neto will call off Rengifo. On the dirt, about midway between second and third, he makes the catch. A 1-2-3 ninth for Matt Moore, his first save in 2 years. And the Angels have swept the Padres with a 3-2 win here tonight.
It's an outlier for sure. Clearly we've got the team to beat anybody. But we didn't show up and play well against this club, and to their credit, outside of one play, they executed the whole series and they played good baseball and they got good pitching, and Soriano was, had a good sinker going and kept balls in the ground, and we got opportunities, got in their bullpen, we just couldn't get over the hump.
Not pictured or not heard in the highlight montage what was perhaps the most critical play of the game on the second batter of the game, when Luis Arraez was thrown out going from first to third on Fernando Tatis Jr.'s infield single, potentially torpedoing what would have been a big inning to start the game for the Padres, and instead turning it into an emergency hatch for the Angels pitcher, who he was good. Jose Soriano was good, but had he had to work for, had to throw 25, 30 pitches, giving up a run or two in the first inning, perhaps that sinker would not have been the same sinker the rest of the game. You let him off the hook on 5 pitches in the first inning.
Yeah.
And I think that helped him out going forward, allowing him to go through 6 innings, give up just the one earned run, 2 runs in the game. That was a critical play in the game when Arraez got thrown out in the first inning.
I mean, again, it's one of those games where the opposing team tries to hand it. I mean, our only runs really came because of the Angels' mistakes, and that's what you had said we were kind of waiting for. Had they played like that in all 3 games, I'm still not sure if we win one or any of those games. Honestly, I'm still not sure based on just the lack of offense that this team has exhibited this week at all. So very, very frustrating 3-game series, very boring 3-game series. A lot of mistakes. Couldn't capitalize on their mistakes. I think I'm a little bit tired of the. They played well too, and it's again, they're one of the worst teams in baseball at home. They had not won consecutive games at home. You just gave them 3, and now you're in a much bigger hole than you should have been. And that's the really unfortunate part for the Padres and Mike Schilt. And he is Mr. Positive. I don't think he's going to change. His job is to keep that clubhouse intact. After that clubhouse, every year it goes off a cliff. Whether it's Jace Tingler, whether it's Andy Green, whether it's Mike Schilt, whether it's Bob Melvin. Clubhouse goes off a cliff every year. His job is to keep it from not doing that. So if he's at least publicly going to defend his players and give all the credit to the other team, I hate hearing it, but that's clearly his MO, right?
I mean, we heard Bob Melvin start to grumble last year about his own team. That didn't go well
for him.
Didn't
do a damn thing,
I don't know that I can get mad at Mike Schilt for just being positive and optimistic about his team, but that's not what you're hearing inside the clubhouse.
So this is great. Good segue. Mace in your face says the difference between what Schilt is saying after games and what players are saying after games is crazy. You should ask him about that tomorrow. We asked him about it last. I think if it wasn't last week, it was 2 weeks ago, and I think it was Crony as well, and I think it was the roller coaster comment. I said, yeah, but Crony said it's a roller coaster, or Manny said it's a roller coaster. He said, oh, I didn't. That means that you're not. I don't want to say you're not on the same page, because the same page is trying to win ball games. But they're all saying something different every single night. The players are.
Manny said yesterday, actually before the game, he said these games are probably going to come and haunt us.
Yep.
That's just a rational, realistic take. Jake Cronenworth said that we play good against good teams. We play bad against teams with bad records. It can't happen. We've done it in the past. Same thing. We need to find a way to switch that. These are series we need to win. That's not what you're hearing from the manager.
No.
But, maybe more of a dose of reality from the players, acknowledging that there's something they're not doing right. Jurickson Profar said, is there a mental issue when it comes to playing teams with losing records? He said, I think so, yes. We do a lot of things to lose.
Just utterly inexplicable. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Of course, if you saw Manny Machado go taken out of the game in the 4th inning after pulling up on a fielder's choice grounder at first base, hustling to make sure he wasn't doubled up. But you could see him grab his right leg. He was diagnosed with a mild hip flexor strain, and Mike Schilt says he is day-to-day. Manny says chance he could even play today. My guess is that, they'll be cautious like they were with Arise. Arise missed a game and then was back in the lineup as a DH. We'll see if they take a similar tack with Manny Machado. He even lobbied to stay in the game, he said, but Mike Schilt tried to play it smart and made him come out of the game there in the fourth inning.
Well, this has been this is the way that it's worked the last 6 years that we've covered the team. So there's some underperforming right now. So now the media is going to be we're on the spit right now, roasting up in the backyard. In about 3 weeks, it's going to be all on Schilt. And then they'll be wanting another manager in. We like to average a manager every 18 months or so, which is really good for
year and a half.
Yeah, every year and a half. So it's good. It's good average. It's what you want from your team. AJ's going to be under the gun soon.
How about this? It's the hitting coach's fault.
Hitting coach. I've already seen him. They're ready to run him out of town. So, listen, it's the same cycle. Nothing changes.
Or Mike Schilt will be right, and they'll start playing some good baseball again.
Or not.
We'll get optimistic.
Or not.
They have done it about half the time this year.
Correct. Exactly half the time.
To be fair, that is true. All right, we'll continue our discussion, play a little Real or Fake on a Throwback Thursday next year on 97.3 The Fan. I honestly think the biggest issue with the Padres right now, though,
The media,
it's
I
not.
told you.
It's not. It's not
No,
the media.
It's the media.
It's not the players not caring enough. It's not even the mental mistakes that we've seen on the base paths, which are they do need to be cleaned up. But ultimately, that's a much easier fix than the biggest problem that I see with the Padres right now, and that is the lack of extra base hits. The reason the Padres didn't beat the Angels, they did not hit a home run in the series.
Manny got one.
That's right. They had one home run in the
That's
series.
it.
One home run in the series, but they had only one extra base hit, I think, the last 2 days. Is that true? That's and it was a ground ball by Arise yesterday down the line. That was the only extra base hit. They had no extra base hits on Tuesday. They had the Manny home run for their one run in the first inning of the series. And after the first inning of the series, they did not have another home run. And then yesterday they had the one ground ball double. They had no extra base hits on Tuesday. It's just hard to score runs when you have to do it single after single after single. I love passing the baton. That inning in Kansas City on Friday was amazing. That's not a recipe for sustained offensive success. You can't ask a team to have to put together 5 or 6 hits in an inning to get 2 or 3 runs. You have to be able to hit a home run. You have to have some doubles here or there. And the Padres, at least right now, have had almost no slug. There's no extra base hits.
And it's, again, I do like bat to ball. I do like better than 3 true outcomes. I do. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying go get a team full of Kyle Schwarbers. It doesn't work. You got to have a little bit of everything on your squad. But, it's not a secret that every year the team that hits the most home runs in the postseason wins the World Series. It's not an anomaly. It's the fact that you're going to be facing the elite of the elite, number one.
Yep.
And then when you get to the postseason, it's really the elite of the elite of the elite. They pare it down to only use their best. Stringing 5-6 hits together to score 2 runs against those guys is much more difficult. So one guy that can work a walk, the next guy can hit a 2-run homer, 1 swing, 2 runs. That's just math. And so I'm not saying that we need to change our approach necessarily. I'm just saying getting maybe one more power bat would be great. But then again, who would that be? How much would they cost? And would they continue to do what they've done when they get to San Diego?
But you can't just say we just need to out-hit our opponents.
Correct.
The Padres have out-hit their opponents. I tweeted this last night, and it wasn't to make everybody mad. They have out-hit their opponents in all 4 games of this losing streak.
But also, man, when you make mistakes on the base paths, now you have to double what you do.
Correct.
Double your offensive output because you're running in outs all the time.
Correct. But if you're already out-hitting your opponents, and that's not helping you win games, maybe there needs to be a bit of a course correction.
It just, the funny thing is I'm watching last night, Nando gets on, and I'm sitting there going, go. You want to be aggressive. You're the aggressive base running team. We're down a run, and you're standing at first with nobody out. And this fireballer on the mound, go. What better time than now to try to swipe a bag? Right there.
But if he gets thrown out stealing,
he was trying to get in a scoring position. If you're Mike Schilt, you can rest your hat on that.
Well, he did. He ended up getting there on a wild pitch by being patient.
But so then if he gets on a wild pitch, then he's in scoring position. Steal again, get ready to try to win that baseball game, or at least in that case, tie that game. You want to be aggressive until you're not. Are you aggressive or are you not? You know what I'm saying? If he steals second, then there's a wild pitch. Guess what? He's on third. Lazy fly ball ties the game. Ground ball to the right side ties the game. Maybe that's the thing is what better time than now to swipe a bag, and you don't. But taking extra bases, weird extra bases, overrunning bags, just stupid
If they're going to be
stuff.
a singles hitting team, though, they're going to have to be aggressive on the base paths.
Correct.
They can't. Mike Schilt can't go and give them the red light. I know that you said, hey, if you're going to keep running into outs, maybe stop them from going. But that's you'll never win.
Leaper had the world's biggest stop sign on yesterday, and Arise just ran through it. So I don't know what you do there. You can't have a tether on them and shock them. get their ass back to the base.
Shot caller.
A shot caller? Just, like.
Pitch com for base running.
Pitch
just
com
right
for
in their
base
ear.
running.
Go.
Don't go.
Don't go.
Dumb,
Stop.
You dummy.
Stop.
Don't.
Stop.
So, I mean, yeah, dude. It's.
Don't do this.
Yeah, just at some point, if you're going to play that game, then play that game. And we need you. Don't tell me Fernando Tatis Jr. can't steal a bag there. I know that kid throws hard. He also can throw it all over the place, as we saw. So
let's not blame Tatis. He went 4 for 4.
Yeah,
last
no,
night.
I'm not blaming
Tied
him.
his career high.
I'm not blaming him at all. I'm just what I'm saying is, like, is this the philosophy of the team or is it not? So that's it. It was a crap week to watch this team. A crap week indeed. And really, it all started on Friday night. I mean, even though they won those 2 games, the decline of this week started 11-3, 8th inning, 9th inning. And that's where it started. And it's been the death spiral ever since. And now you got to find a way to get out of it and figure it out tonight against the Diamondbacks. But it is brutal. It's a brutal watch right now.
All right, we need to have a little bit of fun. We need a contestant for Real or Fake here on a Throwback Thursday. If you want to give us a call, 833-288-0973. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the San Diego County Fair. Share your memories from the 50s to the 90s for the Let's Go Retro photo contest at the San Diego County Fair.
Retro. I've never heard anybody say retro. Retro.
Scooby-Doo. Uh-oh. Your winning photo could win the Best of Show VIP Fair Access Package plus a $500 Visa gift card. The entry deadline is June 9th. Learn more at sdfair.com. And our Real or Fake winner is also going to win tickets to the Kings of Late Night at the San Diego County Fair on June 21st, featuring Jay Leno, Craig Ferguson, and Arsenio Hall. Tickets are on sale now at sdfair.com.
Are you shooketh right now with Retro?
Retro.
Like that. All right, do I need to go?
No, this is Real or Fake. You
Real
get
or
to
fake.
stay. You actually get to help.
I don't want to.
You want to play? Let's just play.
Yeah, let's play.
Get to it.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods. If you can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
Just told you, so let's go with Carl here. Carl, welcome to Real or Fake. How you doing this morning?
Doing great. I'm the Ben, Paul, and me guy.
Oh, remember the promo when you can't remember who the third host is?
Oh!
That's a great one. It's one of my favorites of all time.
I bet it is.
Made me laugh. All right, Carl, let's see if we can get you a win.
Paul.
That other guy.
What's his name?
That's fine.
All right, well, you're going to be counting on that other guy to help you.
Absolutely not.
You're on Real or Fake.
Absolutely not.
Here's your category today. Everybody remembers Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yes.
But how much do you know about the other 7 men out?
A lot.
With MLB gambling in the news this week, today on Real or Fake, I'm going to give you a name. You tell me if they were a real member of the Chicago Black Sox, banned from baseball for fixing the 1919 World Series,
Okay.
or a fake I've made up to fool you. Woodsy looks very confident.
I am supremely confident.
Carl, you ready to play?
Sure.
All right, let's go with round 1, Real or Fake. You need 4 out of the 7 to win. Oscar Happy Felsch, real or fake, Carl?
I'm thinking fake.
Nope, it's real,
Oh,
dog.
that's all right. That's just one, though. All right, that's 0 for 1. Let's go to round number 2. Woodsy does seem like he knows his stuff here. Claude Lefty Williams, real or fake?
Well, I'll use my lifeline, Woodsy.
Real.
He says real. Carl, you agree?
We'll go real.
He says real, and Woodsy is correct. That's one right. Let's go to round number 3. Looking for members of the Chicago Black Sox. Charles Swede Risberg, real or fake?
What was the last name?
Risberg.
What do you think, Woodsy?
Real.
Okay, we'll go real.
He's making it too easy on
I feel
him.
like a category like this, we need to give like
correct.
3
All right.
lifelines. You're going to have to get one.
Round number 4. Heinrich Duke O'Rourke, real or fake?
I'll go fake.
That
Very
is
good,
fake.
sir.
All right, that's
Very
3.
good.
All you need, 1 more, and you're a winner. Let's go with Earl Whitey Wallace, real or fake?
I'll go real.
That
fake.
one is fake. That's all right. We still have 2 more rounds. Let's go to George Buck Weaver. Real or fake?
Well, I'm leaning real, but what are you saying, Woodsy?
It's 100% real.
Well, I'm leaning real, so we'll go real.
It is real, and it's a win. Congratulations, Carl. Stay on the line. Paulie will get your information, remind you of all the names of the hosts of the show, and we'll set you up with those tickets to the Kings of Late Night at the San Diego County Fair. How do you know so much?
I've seen 8 Men Out like 1,000 times.
You remember all the names, though.
I was so obsessed
only
with
8 of
them.
them.
Yeah.
Arnold Chick Gandil.
Chick Gandil. Oh, he was great in the movie. First baseman. I watched that movie so much. I was so obsessed with it when I was in maybe like 8th grade. They had that game. There was some Nintendo game you could create a team. So I created the 1918 so many times.
Yeah.
I don't know the year. The 1919. I created them. I like sat and put in Chick Gandil, Buck Weaver, and you could make them really good or. I was obsessed with the Black
I had
Sox.
no idea you were so well versed
Just obsessed
on the
as could
rest
be.
of that team.
Bo and I watched Field of Dreams over the weekend again for the 100th time, and boy, that's such a tough one to watch with your 6-year-old.
I've seen 8 Men Out, but it was a long time ago.
It's such a brilliant
I
baseball
love
movie.
it.
It's brilliant.
All I know is the
8 Men
guys from
Out.
Field of Dreams. Yeah, he winked at me. I don't know. What's the name of all those other guys
don't
that are
wink,
out
kid.
there? Don't wink, kid.
No, Bo's asking me like, so wait, what? Who's all right? Moonlight Graham. That's him. Yes. He's old though. Yes. Is that him? They pick up the next day. Well, how did he get young? It's just the next day. Bo, it's a movie. You're gonna have to suspend reality. What does suspend reality mean? Use your imagination. Okay. Wait, Terry. He's a writer. Why did he disappear in the corn? Is he coming back? Like, buddy, I've got no earthly idea. And apparently, whoever pitched this movie. They didn't want to answer any of those questions either. Right. So, but Hannah is looking at us going, this movie's the biggest piece of S of all time. And I go, you know what? It's not. Because we're laying there at the end. Of course. Dad, you want to have a catch? I'm sobbing uncontrollably.
She's right, though. It's not it's a dumb movie.
But it makes you have
movie.
feels.
It's a great
isn't
movie.
that what entertainment and art is
My
about?
favorite part of it, honestly, is he goes, why didn't you want to have a catch with your dad? He goes, it's when I read The Boat Rocker by Terrence Mann. He goes, it's not my fault. It's not. This is the kind of stuff that gets laid on me.
We
It's
had
my
this
favorite.
conversation with Dylan Cease. You were talking about Kandinsky.
Yeah.
Like art that makes you feel
Yeah,
something.
feel something. Yeah. That movie makes me feel something.
It makes me feel something. So
And
thus, it's a pretty good movie.
You know what Bo said to me? He goes, if I could have one wish in the whole world, he goes, I would want that baseball field in my backyard. He goes, I said, well, what would you do? He goes, I would quit school. That's all he wanted to do was just play on that field. And I was like, buddy, I wish more than anything I could make that happen for you. Because I would quit work. That's what we would do. We would just play on the field all day long. It is so beautiful. That movie gets me every single time.
Your brother-in-law is going to foreclose on your farm because you're not working anymore. It's a bad scene. It's a bad scene.
Can you imagine me trying to be a farmer? The guy lost his crop again.
Yeah, Ray, not a good farmer.
Not a good farmer.
I was thinking about it. 4 of the greatest baseball movies, or at least the most well-known baseball movies, all came out within a year of each other.
We need
8
more.
Men Out, 1988. Major League was 89. Bull Durham was 88, and then Field of Dreams in 89.
Yeah, we need more of these. 8 Men Out is better than Field of Dreams. Yeah, it's different. It's a different movie. You get more. There's more feelings involved, certainly, with Field of Dreams, but yeah, I mean, I love
cheesy.
them. I love them all.
I think I said it was dumb. It's extremely cheesy.
Bro, we watched also same weekend. Watched For Love of the Game, which is a terrible movie.
I never liked that movie.
But I love it. I love it. I love that. The perfect game. What's he been in the league 25 years or something? It's just great. I love baseball movies. I love baseball. I don't like covering baseball necessarily every single day, but I do love the game.
Don't Do This is coming up next. Can we bring back Matt Kemp's comments again?
Sure, yeah, let's bring it back.
And talk a little bit more. We did it in our open, but we really need to dig in to some what I thought were just inane. Absolutely.
Field of Dreams isn't cheesy. I take that back. It's corny.
It's very corny.
Very corny. And that's a pun. Corn. I get it. All right, we'll talk about Matt Kemp and more next on Don't Do This. With Ben and Woods after a check of Pepper's traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. All right, don't do this. A couple of stories that make you shake your head from the world of sports. And I was truly shaking my head last night when I saw this podcast quote come into my timeline. And I don't even, what's the pivot? I don't even know what.
I'd never heard of the pivot.
Well, I had not
before.
heard of this podcast, but you've got Matt Kemp sitting there with what I thought was one of the most ridiculous, inane takes about his time with the San Diego Padres.
Well, and kind of an embarrassing one if you're him, you know? If you're him, I thought it was more embarrassing to him than the media or fans or anything like that.
When I got traded to Atlanta from San Diego, man, I was like super happy because I wanted to get out of San Diego because it was weird. It was just weird vibes. I just don't think San Diego is one of the places that like, San Diego's a beautiful place, but just like for me at that time, a baseball player, you know, like I was used to like being in LA and people holding you accountable, especially the media. Yeah. Like the media be like, hey, why you suck right now? Where you be like, all right, man, I gotta get these off my back. Like in San Diego, the first month and a half, I was terrible. I'm at my locker like this. Nobody bothering me, asking me questions. I was like, I need to go somewhere where it like matters. So getting to Atlanta though, when I got traded to
We need Bill Plaschke to move down to San Diego and hold these guys accountable.
I guess, man. The motivation of needing the media to yell at you to be better. All right. I mean, I don't need that. I'm more of a self-motivated person. I like to win, very much like to win. It's important to me. Competitive, you know, and I don't make $24 million a year either.
Has that sentiment always been around?
I think so.
Like when the Chargers had a disappointing season or a early playoff exit, was LaDainian Tomlinson coming out and just, I just wish the media held us accountable a little bit better.
I don't remember any of that. I remember the Chargers being very thin-skinned about criticism from the media.
Well, as have the Padres.
The Padres have been very, let's be honest, when there is criticism, they don't react well to it. Take in point Eric Hosmer's tenure with the Padres.
I was in that scrum when Jeff Sanders asked him that question. I was there, and I watched his face, and I go, that's not how you react. That's not what you do. And is it because we're not grinding on them so hard every single day that question seems a little bit out of pocket? Maybe. I don't know. But
can people be motivated by trying to prove other people wrong?
Absolutely.
Is that a motivational factor?
Yes.
So in that sense, could someone say,
but it's not,
hey, being constantly criticized by the media gives me a little extra incentive to prove them wrong and that I am a good player? Yeah, I guess that's possible. I would like to think that getting paid a ton of money and having a chance to leave a legacy and win a championship is way more motivational than trying to prove what one writer or radio host or television host happened to say about you or a question you didn't like. But I guess to each his own. And I have to take Matt Kemp for his word that he's being honest when he says he felt like he didn't play well because he wasn't being held accountable enough by the local media when he was here. I still don't think it's necessarily our responsibility to hold players accountable. They have coaches, they have front office people whose job it is to hold players accountable.
You have the guy in the mirror too, which is the most important guy to be accountable to. That's it. It's we're seeing a lot of, obviously he gambled because there's DraftKings sponsorships, billboards out in center field or whatever. No, he gambled because he gambled and he broke the rules. Matt Kemp, as Jay points out, also said he didn't give full effort here. Todd Strain from NBC tweeted last night, Matt Kemp had a recliner in Andy Green's office that you weren't allowed into. Don't tell me you're out there ready to face the media every day. Same with Eric Hosmer.
Just sitting there looking around.
Anybody? No.
What is it?
Yes, man. And look, I'll fully submit it's a weird part of sports media is having to go to your locker every day. I think it's weird. I would hate to do it walking out of this room every day, but that's the nature of the beast. Now, you give me $23 million, I'll answer questions every day. Every day. But I'm also a guy that wants to be accountable. And if I screw up and if I have a bad show, I'll tell you first to say I was terrible today. I've said it 1,000 times, probably more than I should. But It's just
You wouldn't blame the tier ones for holding you accountable for your show?
Absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. So yeah, it stinks. That's a crap take. But I will go in a different direction, off to the Windy City, where this beef has been brewing. We've told you about the guys from 670 The Score and White Sox broadcaster John Schifrin, and how John Schifrin was on the air saying, hey, listen, if those radio guys rip you, nobody cares. They suck anyway, right? And then the guys from The Score getting all butthurt about it. And it's been a war of words between these guys. So then you've got the meeting of the White Sox and the Cubs. And so what does that mean? That means everybody's together. That means the guys from 670 The Score are in the press box. They popped in to actually introduce themselves and shake hands with John Schifrin. And they said, look, we've been talking about his interesting choices as the White Sox broadcaster. He's turned down interview opportunities. You went viral for the critique of Bill Veeck. You said you wanted to be the one to make the intro for the show. You wanted to be the one to do it. I wasn't going to deny you that. I've thought about what critiques are fair, what kind of critiques are not. Most of us want to have a direct conversation. So he walks into the TV booth to say, hello, man, like extend his hand.
An olive branch.
An olive branch, if you will. He says, I opened the TV booth. There was John. Stepped up, extended my arm. I said, hey, John Schifrin, Matt Spiegel from 670 Score. He patted my arm on the side with the back of his hand and said, hey, buddy, how you doing? And walked out. He said, that was the extent of my interaction. Tried to shake his hand. If he wants to MF me to my face, I'm right here for it. Then his co-host said, turning down a handshake, that's dirty. That's Bush League. You don't have to come on, but extending the handshake and him blowing it off, that's just weak. This is never going to end between these guys. I mean, it's as juicy of sports broadcasting drama as we get.
Do we need to get into some beef with someone else?
Jesse?
Ooh.
He would eviscerate
us.
Yeah,
that's
eviscerate.
I don't want to punch above my weight class.
Yeah. He would eviscerate us. So
feel like me and Tony Gwynn Jr. are starting something.
I feel a little
kind of in the roundtables.
I can't wait for
could continue today.
Is he coming today?
I think so. See if we take our beef to the next level. Finally, by the way, extra don't do this to the White Sox, who have matched their franchise record now with 13 consecutive losses, and the Cubs passing the Padres for the second wild card spot yesterday with their win over the White Sox. They're back to 500. All right, do this moment.
DD mega doo-doo.
And I thought it was a do this moment for baseball, and you can feel good about it as a Padres fan because it didn't lead to anything good for the Dodgers. But the Paul Skeens, Shohei Ohtani, fight, round versus round. Ohtani faces Skeens. First time up, Skeens blows him away with 300-plus mile-an-hour fastballs.
Awesome.
Just the rookie sensation with the electric arm comes in. But then the next time, Shohei Ohtani gets him on a 102-mile-an-hour pitch and hits a home run. It truly was great theater for baseball last night.
It was Tungsten O'Doyle, though. It was Shohei Ohtani steps up, hits a 2-run homer, and the Pirates or the Dodgers are now trailing 7-2 or whatever.
Yeah, after losing 1-0 yesterday, Dodgers lose 10-6 to the Pirates. Pirates are going for the sweep today.
Dodgers are 12-12 in their last 24. That's nuts.
Is there a chance that they might want to make some changes with that team, even managerial? If they get swept today, are they hitting the panic button the way the Padres fans are hitting the panic button after getting swept by the
I doubt it.
Angels?
I doubt it. I hope not. Man, I hope not.
Getting swept by a sub-500 team that you think you should be beating? It's not a concern. It's a concern for the Padres, but not a concern for the Dodgers.
Oh, I mean, look, they're not going to panic and fire Dave Roberts on June 6th or 7th. I don't see that happening.
I don't either.
I really don't.
I'm sure you guys talked about this.
I hope they don't.
Did I see over the weekend or some report that the Dodgers are looking to add some star power at the trade deadline?
Yeah, they're going to be in the mix for...
It's one of the funniest things I've ever read.
To go with their gutty group of underdogs that they've put together.
It's
maybe
incredible.
Freddie
just need
Freeman,
a star or two on that
Mookie
team.
Betts, Tyler Glasnow.
Yamamoto. I mean, on and on. I saw that. It was like a still shot of Friedman in a presser, and he's like this. And it was like, they need outfield, they need this, they need that. But listen, the crap part is they're going 500, 12-12, and we're out here going 500, which is terrible. You could have really made some ground in the division. And that would be egg I would love to wear on my face. If you could go, if they start playing really bad baseball, you start playing well, and you actually give them a run for their money for the division.
Well, I mean,
which I thought was out of the realm of possibility.
If the Padres had just taken care of business, in these last 4 games, had scored 2 more runs in each game, done what we thought they were going to do, finished off the Royals, swept the Angels, they'd be 3 games out of first place right now. Instead, they're a fairly distant 7, and you don't really see any path right now to catching up. But you had a chance. The Dodgers gave you a couple of weeks here where you could have made up some ground, and you didn't. So now you're still just kind of trying to battle for a wild card spot instead of a division title at this moment. And that's Don't and Do this for a Thursday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's open the phone lines, 833-288-0973. If you want to call in, comment on anything you've heard so far about the San Diego Padres, we certainly can. Paulie also had a good idea. He thinks that I should crack into my store of roundtable topics early and pick one question
I'm sick
to talk
of you
about
coming up with such good content.
He holds it for
for the roundtable
for an hour. We don't even get ratings on as a show, which makes no sense to me.
Like, why don't you just spread the riches a little bit?
All right, I've got a number of different questions that I was going to hold for the roundtable, but I will break one of those out for you.
If it's a good topic and people want to hear what Annie and Tony and Chris and Craig think, then they can tune in.
They'll get their chance later this morning. But you guys,
which means I get to do it twice,
will get your chance. Well, we can skip you in the this later this morning if you'd want.
Fine by me.
All right, we'll get to that coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
JR tweets saying, can't wait to hear from Ben and Woods say that the Padres, though they got swept again by an SC team, is still not bad yet. Soft media, one word. JR, no one said that. They suck right now. They stink. It was a crap week. It was terrible. And it's the players' fault.
Last week was a pretty good week. It was also the players' credit
Correct.
Last week. I'm not taking, as a media member, I will not take any credit for good play.
No, zero.
But
None.
then I also shouldn't have to take any blame for bad play.
That's exactly right.
But I promise you,
Like
I will take zero credit for
None.
good play.
None whatsoever.
And I think you'd all recognize that if, in 2022, if Woods and I went around and said, Padres run to the National League Championship Series, it's really because we mediated really well that year.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous.
It's absurd.
That would be absolutely asinine if we tried to take credit.
We're not Stephen A. Smith.
For
dude.
anything
You know what I
good
mean?
that happened with the Padres.
Nothing. Not a
But
damn
conversely, that also means you can't really blame us when bad things happen to the team as well.
I just, Matthew says you were soft on them during every interview and phone call. I mean, yeah, I'd like to really deliver hard-hitting questions. We've had some knockdown dragouts with AJ Preller, I think, in the past. But again, when it pertains to AJ's a tough interview. I'll be the first to admit it. He's a tough interview. You're not going to get a lot out of him. But you got to ask the questions, certainly. And Mike Schilt, I think the tenor of tomorrow's interview can't be a positive one. They have not been playing well. And I think pushing back on Mike Schilt saying that the base running instincts have been good, I think that's an easy question on my behalf to say, how do you say that? Like, you guys run into outs that are right in front of you. What can you do to change that as the skipper of a big league ball club? So listen, man, if I'm not doing my job well, I try. I really do try, and I really do care about it. I want to do the best job that I can possibly do, but I'm always just going to be myself. And if I'm pissy, you'll know I'm pissy. If I'm not pissy, I'm not going to fake pissiness. So many guys do that, and so many guys do that in this town. And it just does it not come off as performative to everybody?
Yeah, to me it does. If you can't recognize that there are some ups and downs in a baseball season, you're just a clown. You don't know what you're talking about.
Correct. There's gonna be ups and downs.
There also are legitimate causes for concern, and I think we're trying to address some of them. Woods is talking about base running gaffes that continue to happen. I'm talking about a very concerning lack of production against left-handed pitching and a lack of extra base hits and home runs that could keep this team from going anywhere near where they want to go if they can't start doing more of it. I also know that they would love to hit more home runs. They would absolutely. No one's turning it down if they could actually run into a few balls and hit some home runs. They would win more games if they did so. So you have to moderate your anger with the realization that you also can't just go off the handle every single time a team loses a game. This has been a bad week.
It's been a really bad week. It's been a really rough week, but you're also going to, again, when you're going to let the players off the hook. And that's kind of my whole basis is like, it's always on the players. Always. I always get mad at Yuki Matsui, or I always get mad at Enyel De Los Santos. I rarely get mad at Mike Schilt. Rarely. Like the manager, I rarely get upset with. Last night, I did not understand pinch hitting Jose Azocar. I didn't. I had no idea why in the lefty-righty matchup, whatever. I did not understand that. He's not a good hitter. And does that fall on AJ Preller and not Mike Schilt? He's trying to make a play there. I don't know, but I'm always going to.
Normally, you would have saved Donovan Solano for that situation, but
Manny got hurt.
He had to go in for Manny, who had gotten hurt.
I just think I'm always going to say it's on the players to execute. They're the ones that make the lion's share of the money. They need to execute. And if you need me to name them, I'll rip through the entire roster because really no one is doing everything right now. No one. And it goes from Jake Cronenworth. It goes from Camposano. It goes to Higashioka. It goes to Fernando Tatis, who did have a nice game last night. It goes to Jackson Merrill. It goes to Jurickson Profar, who's had a really nice season. No one's doing everything
Robert
right.
Suarez
right
is
now.
probably the only player on
He's
the entire
he's
roster
damn
that
near
you
infallible.
can't say
Yeah.
anything bad about right now.
He's pretty much the only infallible one. But again, without contributions from Cronenworth and Profar early, this team's not even where they are now, right? But those guys got to pick it up, man. It's on them. They're the ones that swing. They're the ones that decide to swing. They're the ones that decide to take extra bags. They're the ones that execute pitches or don't execute pitches. That's who I blame. I blame the players. And guess who else blames the players? They do, unless you're a guy like Matt Kemp, and then you blame the media. Or a guy like Cameron Maben, who was terrible here. Terrible. And he's talking about how the fans aren't mean enough like they are in New York. Michael King came out a couple weeks ago. I don't think we talked about this. He's like, oh, no, they're in my DMs in San Diego with terrible, terrible threats. That's not the right way to do it. If you think that's the right way to do it, you're not my kind of people.
Somebody in the chat a few minutes ago was saying, like, oh, why are guys like Maben and Kemp saying these things about San Diego?
Because they were terrible here.
It's because they were terrible.
And it was a different era.
Soft.
Yeah, and it was a different era here, too.
But they're outliers, is my point. Like, they have a podcast, they have a video camera, a clip goes, viral on your timeline, and that's why it's being discussed. I don't think that's the overall sentiment from former players that once played for the Padres. Though.
Yeah, and again, Viva Padres says, these millionaires have other problems if they're blaming the media and fans for their lack of performance. Bro, yeah, our energy on this show is not
No
change.
current Padre has said, the media is the reason they're struggling.
No.
These are all former players that, have made this comment. So I'm not saying that any of the current Padres are saying, yeah, they're making it too easy on us.
And again, I saw this last night, East County Chris. I remember on Scott and BR years ago, Matt Kemp's mom DM'd Scott for being mean to Matt Kemp. So, the media, it is what it is. It's such an easy fall guy for the lack of execution from our players. I don't want to wear their crap performance, nor should I have to. They should. Right? They're the ones that need to wear it. I've said it like a mantra this year. When people started booing, people started clutching their pearls, I'm like, boo. Hell yeah, boo. Let them have it, man. That's garbage play right there.
And Michael King said, yeah, let us have it.
Let us have it.
We want.
Man, he said, I get it.
it.
Boo, boo, boo. So I totally, again, I don't want to come off as defensive, but I also use some logic here. That's all I'm asking. Use a little bit of logic here. When it comes to the whole hold them accountable thing. They suck right now. What else do you want me to say? They're terrible right now. That was one of the worst stretches of baseball I've seen this year, certainly. But even in the last couple of years, this is a terrible stretch of baseball for the San Diego Padres. They did not look like they cared about winning those games or wanted to win those games. What else do you want me to say?
And even the players have said, yeah, there's something wrong.
Jerkson said we're finding ways to lose games. Yeah, we've heard this before.
Jake said we're playing down to our opponents.
But I'll tell you, I'm not benching Jake. I'm not benching Profar. I'm not benching any of these guys. They got to figure it out. But it's not going to be me that gets them going. It's not going to be Ben that gets them going. It's not going to be Hog Watch that gets them going. It's not going to be anybody that gets them going, except for themselves. They're the ones that got to execute, not me. I'm executing right now. So it's just pathetic. It's a pathetic, pathetic excuse. Just like blaming a new manager every single year is a pathetic excuse. It's on the players. It's always been on the players. It always will be on the players. I don't know their work ethic. I'm not in there. I don't know what they're doing to improve themselves on a daily basis. From what I understand, they work hard at their craft. From what I understand, they do care about winning. They're just not.
Margie in the chat has the solution. I hope this is tongue in cheek. He says, we need to clean house, and it starts with Mud Grant. He's been in forever.
You must be out of your mind. Players need to play.
All right, I want to change the tone a bit. So we're going to check traffic. When we come back, I'm going to crack open a roundtable question, but I'm going to make it my seventh inning stretch question, just so we can get a little bit of lighthearted joviality into the proceedings this morning. Do that after Vicky's traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicky Pepper.
This report brought to you by Liberty Mutual. 15 South at Deer Springs, the Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows that an earlier crash involving a motorcycle has been cleared to the shoulder. I'm Vicki Pepper with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hi, we're Comparing Insurance Agency. Never heard of us? We know. But to help it stick that our local agents are insurance experts, we're going to say local agent 3 times in the next 5 seconds. Local agent, local agent, local agent.
Find us at comparinginsurance.com.
So we have our 97.3 The Fan, San Diego Roundtable Pizza, Padres Roundtable coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. The format is commercial-free. It is 60 minutes of uninterrupted Padres discussion, except for usually around 10:40, 10:45 or so. I have my 7th inning stretch question. I break something completely unrelated to baseball or the Padres out just to kind of get everyone to kind of reset and lighten up a little bit during what can often be a grueling and intense hour of radio. So this is what I'm going to tease for you guys this morning. Here's our 7th inning stretch question, and it is the least important question I think I've ever asked.
Looking forward to this.
Gambling, of course, has been in the news lately. Here's your question. Woods, Paul, what do you consider your lucky number and why? Everybody has a lucky number, right?
Yeah.
What's your lucky number, Woods?
22.
22. Why is 22 your lucky number? Obviously, it must predate Juan Soto's arrival with the San Diego Padres.
It definitely does. When I was a kid and I was playing baseball, Little League and whatnot, I loved Don Mattingly. He was like my first love. You couldn't get 23. No one could get 23 because everybody always, coach's kid, got 23. So I went to 22. And I was looking around baseball for a time. I'm like, who's a really good 22? Will Clark he wore 22. And I watched him and, the natural, the swing and all that. And I was a very impressionable young man. And I just thought, man, I'm not a left-handed hitter, but that sure is a very smooth swing. I also like to play first base. So I went with 22. I've always gone with 22. And that's been my number forever. I switched it up this year for the Tier 1s. And it's been a little odd not being 20. It's the first time I've ever not been number 22. So I picked number 1 for Tier 1.
I love this from Tom. He says, 22 is mine too. I was born on 12/22 at 2:22 p.m.
Oh,
That's a great story right there. Paulie, what's your lucky number?
32. And fairly similar reasons, although it just kind of happened randomly. Like I noticed middle school and into high school, like the first 3 or 4 teams that I made, whether it was baseball, basketball, whatever, I always was number 32. Just randomly. I got number 32.
You got it.
All right, I guess this is my number now. So I just rolled with number 32.
When the coach handed out the jerseys, yours just happened to have 32 on the back.
Yeah, like the first 3 or 4 teams. And then I was like, all right, I'm noticing a trend here. I'm going to rock number 32, especially in basketball. Dude, Shaq wore number 32.
Yeah, Shaq is 32. Was he 32 or 30?
He was 34 with the Lakers, and then
Okay.
32, I think, with the Heat and the Suns.
Yeah.
Later
What
on in
about
his
you,
career.
Benjamin?
Yeah, so a lot of people do choose the number of their favorite athlete, especially sports fans, to be their lucky number. And I do like 19 as a number because of Tony Gwynn, and I consider it a lucky number. I will have to say, though, I do judge a little bit. When someone says 7 is their lucky number, that feels a little just
give uppy.
13 seems a little like I'm edgy. Like I know Manning's 13, but that's supposed to be an unlucky number, but I'm making it my lucky number.
Yeah.
You're trying to be a little edgy. Mine is strange. Mine's 47.
I thought you were going to say 69.
69.
No, it's 47.
Overrated.
And the reason for 47 is a bizarre one. So it has to do with where I went to college. At Pomona College, there is a folklore about the number 47 because sometime back in the 1960s, there was a weird math professor who wrote out this entire giant funny proof that said all numbers are equal to each other and thus all numbers are equal to the number 47.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, everyone started noticing there are weird instances of the number 47 everywhere you go at my college, and I started to become obsessed with finding 47s. And then there are people actually who are in the entertainment industry who went to my school, and they carry on the joke. So you will often find in episodes of random TV shows, when they just need a random number, 47 pops up a lot, and it's a little nod to where they went to college at Pomona College. So 47,
Interesting.
I kind of use as a lucky number when it comes to, like, if I ever played a lotto, I always try to put 47 in there.
Do you
I don't
play
know
the
that it's
lotto?
actually when it's like over $1 billion,
Okay.
I will get a
All right.
couple of tickets. So 47 is the one that I consider my lucky number.
I like it.
All right, we'll come back. Paulie's got some Throwback Thursday for us. It is a Smart Baseball Thursday. Saris will join us at 8:35. And your phone call is coming up next, 833-288-0973. Don't go away. It's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we're halfway home. Not really. On a Thursday, Ben and Woods, 97.3 the fan, 2/5 of the way home. God.
You're halfway to Roundtable Pizza.
That's true.
Now.
Yeah, that's true. I would say it's great to be here with you, but I'd be lying through my teeth. I would rather be home asleep or nursing some Basil
I heard Ello
Hayden
threaten he wasn't
whiskey.
even going to come to the Roundtable if the Padres lost again. So
I didn't know we could do that either.
I didn't either, but I did hear him mention that on the show yesterday.
That's
so
fantastic.
I assume he will actually be here because he wants to remain employed.
Yeah.
And, we'll be held accountable if we don't do our job.
Correct. I may just pull the "I'm just here so I don't get fined" bit all day, the whole time at the round, and just sit there. Like, you can't say I didn't go to the round table.
Like Marshawn Lynch at Super Bowl
I'm
Media
just
Day.
here so I don't get
just
fined.
here so don't get fined.
But Woodsy, what do you think? What was your favorite number? I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Ryle, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Last night was a pretty cool one for your old pal Woodsy. We had Bo's first real kind of tryout for baseball, and it was an assessment they wanted to see. They got all the kids coming into frozen ropes. They got a bunch of kids in there, and they're assessing them to see.
He wasn't going to get cut.
Correct. And
because that would be stressful.
That would be awful for a 6-year-old. And I let him know that, hey, no, you're still going to play, but they got to see. Okay, we got 2 really good kids, or 4 really good kids, and 3 middle of the road, and we got to make balanced and fair teams.
Assessment.
So
Tryout leads to think you either make the team or you
don't. And so, but
there were Little League tryouts. You'd go the managers could
pick
evaluate you and then pick you accordingly.
But it was his first kind of thing with other kids he didn't know, and let's see what you got, kid. And I got to tell you guys, man, as a father, 6 years in with my firstborn, you think you've kind of I got it figured out, and you can't really surprise me anymore. And the moment when I watched him go out there, they called his name, and he went out and dominated and did so well. Just the pride that you feel, because I was sitting there going, and we got in the car after, and I said, "Your hard work." I go, "How'd you feel?" He goes, "I felt great." And I said, "It's because you literally work your ass off at this, and to watch it come to fruition as a dad was like the coolest thing ever. I don't have to make him work." He actually says I need the media to hold me accountable, which is why he works so hard, because I'm the media. So I hold him accountable. I don't. He wants to just practice and play. And so we finish up. He's barreling balls off the tee, barreling balls off the machine. They had let him pitch. He did really well. He loved that. So we get done, and he's sitting there with his buddy Jackson. And one of the coaches walks up, kind of waits for the other kids to leave. And he goes, "Hey, do you think they'd have any interest in playing with the 8-year-olds?" And I looked at Bo, and his eye, I got a little panicked, and his eyes got huge, and he looked at me, and he nodded his head. So we get in the car, and I go, "Did you hear that? They want you to play up." And he just grinned from ear to ear. And I was like, "Bro, that's the hard work, and it's paying off." I was a very proud pop last night, man. Got home, told Hannah all about it, and you just watching them apply themselves at something, and then it pay off was pretty cool.
Now, you said he gets the credit because he's put in the work, but
100%.
You have to admit it does feel pretty good when someone else, not in your family, goes, "Yeah, your kid's an impressive
it does.
little specimen of baseball player."
Well, you know what made me the most happy is that 2 of the kids that I coached did. Jackson is another one I coached. I mean, he has other coaches now, too. He plays on a couple different teams. But I was with them when they were little, really teeny tiny, teaching them, just how to swing hard and, keep your butt down. And I'm no baseball guru. I'll be done in a couple of years coaching, certainly. But to watch just the work pay off was just so – I was on cloud 9 driving home and was just like, man, that's what I'm talking about. And his face when they said, "You want to play with the older kids?" He was like, "Yeah, I do." And I was not going to push him into the older. I was going to let it kind of come to him. And when they asked him, dude, he was 10 feet tall and just grinning from ear to ear in the back seat. So
like a little Leo Dallas DeWoods.
Yeah, Leo
playing
Dallas
with the older kids.
That's right.
That holding his own.
God, it was cool, man.
That's tough to do against older kids because you have to remind him when he has some failures. Then,
oh yeah, we're getting there.
That. Okay, yes, but you were also going up against kids who are older. If you were going up against kids your own age, you'd be dominating, but that's not necessarily good for you.
Correct.
Now, you know that one of the most famous parents of a child prodigy ever did not believe in that strategy.
Which is why I kept Bo and T-ball this year.
He wanted Tiger to play against kids his own age and dominate them and win by 17 strokes, which he did.
Which he did
in tournaments growing up.
And he absolutely could have played up. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Bo could. This could break his entire spirit. I have no idea, but I don't think it will, because he's the type of kid that wants to put in the work. As soon as we were done with assessment, we got home and he goes, can I get some grounders when we get home? And I'm just like, I couldn't love this kid more, man. I was very, very proud of him, man. Very, very proud. It was a very cool dad moment, and I'm still getting surprised 6 years later almost every day.
All right, let's get to some phone calls here. 833-288-0973. We've been talking Padres baseball. Let's go to Sam. You are up with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Hello, Sam.
Hello, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Good, buddy.
It's been a rough one, but we're making it through.
I hear you, Woodsy. That's a great story, man.
Thank you, man.
It's great feeling. Great feeling. Two things. One, why is Fernando not stealing bases?
I said it. I needed him on second last night, late in the game. I did. I needed that one. I don't know. Is his confidence still seems to be there? Because we saw what he did, tried to test Bobby Witt the other night, and that was a very Fernando-esque play, and he got hosed. Does that weigh into it at all? That I feel like maybe I've lost a little bit of a step here.
He's stolen 6, which doesn't seem like a lot, especially with the increase in numbers. That would put him on pace for around 20. His last year he had 29. The year before he had 25. He's not way off his pace. It's not like he went from a 70 stolen base guy to a 15 stolen base guy. His pace is a little bit down on stolen bases. I don't know. Do you want to see him running more? You
only if he's safe. That's it. That's right.
Is it not possible that he's seen some of his teammates running into outs and goes,
maybe.
I don't want to be that guy
at this situation.
In this time, I'm on base. Let me just make sure I stay on base and give our team a chance to score.
Yep, for sure.
It's not like the Padres have always been the best at bringing in runners from third with less than one out. Would have been nice if he had gotten to third at some point there in the 8th inning? Padres had their chances. In the 6th inning, of course, they scored the 2, but they left a runner in scoring position. In the 7th, they had another opportunity, and then in the 8th, they had runners in scoring position. They did not score any more runs after they got the first 2 with the help of the bad throw, the throwing error by the Angels. They just couldn't come through in the clutch, which makes you wonder, are the Padres not a clutch team? And the numbers would say that's not true. In fact,
this blew my mind that you just told me.
In high leverage situations, Emily Nyman, our friend Emily, put up this stat earlier this morning. But in high leverage situations this season, the Yankees are the number 1 team coming through. The Guardians are number 2. So 2 first-place teams who are really killing it. And the Padres are number 3 in baseball in high leverage situations. Their players have been better in pressure clutch situations this year than 27 other teams in baseball. Doesn't seem like it, does it?
No. I guess it would factor in because they had some really nice comebacks and they had some really nice 7th inning and beyond innings. I'm sure that weighs it down or weighs it,
Yeah, but it does seem like their big innings are like 7th,
8th, 9th. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Certainly doesn't feel like it, and the results certainly aren't there either.
Very rarely do they come out swinging, coming out of the gates. First inning, second inning, put up 5.
And you tend to have more higher leverage situations later in the game.
Sure.
Especially in close games. So, but they've also failed a bunch. So you think, okay, well maybe they're middle of the pack then.
Right.
No, they're number 3.
It's crazy
in baseball in high leverage situations.
Crazy.
And that includes, that's weighted runs created. So that includes slug and all the other stats that go into it that you would say doesn't feel like the Padres are that good at.
You actually just made me feel worse because
you can't get better.
It's not translating to victories on the field.
Well, that has been the issue for the Padres franchise the last couple of years. That the good things that they do don't translate into wins. The bad things they do almost always translate into losses. But the good things they do don't necessarily translate into wins.
Yeah.
Statistically, Their numbers are pretty decent. They were last year as well.
Tyler says, we also as fans think more situations are high leverage than the stats do. Like we feel Tatis on second, maybe the third or fourth is a must score, but the data maybe doesn't.
That's
as much.
true.
But
that is true.
Is that what that says? Does that say seventh inning and beyond, though?
I don't know that it's only seventh inning and beyond.
Okay.
I think, though, it depends on like how much win percentage you can create in an at-bat.
Okay.
Hey, if the bases are loaded in a tie game and it's only the fourth inning, that can be a high leverage situation. But, if you're up by 6 already in the 8th inning, it's not necessarily a high leverage situation. So It depends, I think, on the game situation a bit. But you do tend to have more of them later in the games than earlier in the game. Sam, thank you for the call.
Sammy.
Interesting question. Let's go to line 2. I don't have a name here. Caller, you're on with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Nameless.
And maybe not.
If you're sitting on hold, speak up.
Hello?
If you're not there. All right. I'll
Shocker,
drop
we
that
don't
one.
take more phone calls.
It
on the
is
show.
odd that we don't. Yeah.
It's tough. Well, I mean, maybe they didn't know that they were supposed to talk at that moment.
All right.
833-288-0973.
When we say talk, then you talk.
Yeah.
Right. But how do they know that it's not someone else who wants
I
to
literally
talk?
said, if you're sitting on hold right now, talk.
All right, let's try it again. Caller, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Got
good work.
you.
Hey.
Who is this?
Sorry, I guess headphones don't work. This is David.
David.
This is David from the beautiful island of Galveston, Texas.
Ooh.
And hey, I listen every morning. I just want to give a quick shout out. You guys are fantastic.
Thank
the
you.
whole 97.3 The Fan is amazing. I listen all day. And give Bald Ryle a round of applause for that. And hey, I just want to say, like, we keep talking about who we're going to get to fix this lineup.
Yeah.
Things like that. And after the past several years, I think Craig was talking about, the history of the Padres, which I think we tend to forget a lot. And I think given the recent history, I think AJ Preller has done a fantastic job. I think we all just need to cross our arms and just let them figure it out at this point. I mean, we added Arise. He's been fantastic. We added Dylan Cease. I mean, the starting pitching has been fairly good for what we've got going on. And I think the offense just needs to figure it out. I mean, I know, Woodsy, you were talking about adding a bat.
Yeah.
I just don't know who that would be or if that would even change the San Diego Padres, given the history of what happens when they come here.
That's the thing is like that's always the biggest problem for me is, I would love to add Pete Alonso, right? Uncle Pete, welcome to San Diego, working on your Camaro that's up on blocks, drinking a Coors Light, smoking a Marlboro. Like I've busted that guy's chops for being corny for years. I would welcome that dude here with open arms, man, because that guy's got 40 bombs in him. You know what I mean? Pete Alonso wants to win. But why do I get the sense that he would come here and be middling, And
Well, there's two schools of thought here, and I want to talk about when we come back, and you can continue with the phone calls. But there's I think, common sense that, they need to make a move, add another bat, add something here before it's too late, before the season falls apart, and it's too late to make a move later. So act sooner rather than later. But there's another school of thought, and our friend Ryan Phillips tweeted this in the middle of the night. I think he's in Italy. That's why. He said the idea that Preller is seeking to give away more prospects in a blockbuster for another pitcher to add to a 500 team is insane. Why? So they can get pounded by the Phillies in the playoffs? Let these guys prove they're a contender before you make any moves. Which do you subscribe to? Act now before it's too late, or make the team prove that they deserve to actually be invested in before you go out and make a move that you're going to regret.
I love Ryan, but I
later on.
I don't agree with the sit back, cross your hands, and go.
All right,
prove it. Prove you need help.
We'll talk about it because I see Ryan's argument pretty clearly here, and we can discuss it next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
It's a good topic that you presented from Ryan Phillips and our pal Brandon. Reset it if you would, Benny. Sorry.
So I think the common thinking is, Padres need to make another move to stop the bleeding, add another bat or more pitching depth, something like that. And A.J. Preller was rumored to be looking at pitchers, including Garrett Crochet. We talked about that yesterday, but. Ryan Phillips, who is Tier 1 and was with the Big Lead, and now they're like with Sports Illustrated, he tweeted, why would you invest more prospects, essentially, in this roster until they actually can prove to you that they are a contender? And I understand that argument 100%, because if you trade anybody, and I'm not talking just about Ethan Salas or Leodalis DeVries, but any prospect traded for a team that doesn't then go on to make the playoffs, if you're trading for a rental of some sort to help you, that's just wasted prospect capital. So you need to turn it into something. Now, maybe is making the playoffs good enough for you?
Say wasted. What you say?
Yes.
Wasted prospect capital? No, I mean you don't. If you trade for a rental,
if you trade for a rental,
then it's wasted prospect
like
capital.
a Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
If you're trading for a rental,
you need to make a run.
How much of a run do you need to make for that to be worth it for you? Do you have to win the World Series?
No,
I don't necessarily think that.
I don't think so either.
But just if you get to the playoffs and then lose in the wild card round, are you going to be happy that we at least got there?
Yeah.
Is anybody not going to be happy making the playoffs?
Got to make the playoffs.
You got to make the playoffs. Remember playoff-less baseball in San Diego last year? It was dog-ass.
But not if you don't make the playoffs. This team right now, I promise you, cannot make the playoffs as constructed.
Are you sure? Look how poorly the.
I just said they cannot make the playoffs as constructed. They can continue to play poorly with no prospects given up. They cannot make the playoffs. If you give up more prospects and you still don't make the playoffs, you're just wasting prospects.
Okay, how about this? What if they don't make the playoffs and that's AJ's last run? Like, it's playoffs
That's on
or
AJ.
bust for AJ. So
I don't care.
My point is, why does AJ care what the roster is going to look like in 4 years?
He doesn't.
He's going to trade anybody he can to try to save his job if it's playoffs or bust.
Why aren't the White Sox trading for players right now? Because they know that they can't.
Like the worst team in baseball.
They can't go anywhere.
We're not the White Sox.
Okay, good. Good.
That I will. I'll defend.
So you're
that.
acknowledging then people who want the Padres to make a trade are acknowledging they still have hope for this team.
Sure.
Going forward.
Yeah, and it's well, see, Brandon says,
and I think Ryan is saying, I don't know if we should have hope. They should have to prove it a little bit more, because they're not going anywhere unless some of the players on the team already start playing better.
Sure.
One more bat, one more arm. Garrett Crochet, Pete Alonso is not necessarily going to be the difference maker. The difference maker is these guys who are already there play better than we've seen over the first 65 games.
So Brandon says, make the team prove they're contending. They're contending because everyone else is crap in the NL. Making a move right now would seem like a panic move to save a job. Well, if everyone else is crap in the NL right now, shouldn't you then take advantage and try to make your
that's
team
part of the
better?
equation for sure.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. Again, I think Fernando is starting to play a little bit better. Manny was starting to play a little bit better until he got hurt last night. Some signs of life. The pitching has been really a lot better. You know, there's also been some regression with Kemp and with Crony and those guys. But I mean, are you going for it or not?
Well, and I think the comparison is important. And while Paulie hates it when I say, hey, if the season ended today, the Padres would be in the playoffs, it makes a difference. If the Padres were 32-33, but they were 7 games out of a playoff spot, wouldn't make a lot of sense to start investing more in your roster. But because they are still in a playoff spot, you can make a better argument that, yeah, we should be going for it this year. Because next year, we may be 5 games above 500, but it may be a much more competitive, tougher league to make the playoffs in. So this might be the best chance that you're going to get into the postseason. I mean, and you have a team that has shown they can beat better teams.
Correct.
So
that
you get to the playoffs, it gives you a little hope that if they do get there, they could make noise once they're there.
All of those factors leads up to me thinking that not that they are, but that they should be a playoff team. right? They should be. They need to play much better baseball, and they need to now dig themselves out of more holes. But if you're going to tell me that I can add pieces that's going to make your roster better, maybe at the expense of 2027, I think I'm okay with that.
I think people, you have to remember that the question, does this look like a playoff team to you, is not asked in a vacuum. Because people will go, I watched this team this week. This does not look like a playoff team.
No, this week, no, sir.
But the question you really should be asking is this one of the 6 best teams in the National League?
The answer is yes. They are right now.
And the level of competition is very important.
You could expand it. I mean, are they one of the best 8 or 9 teams in the National League?
And to be in contention,
hunt.
yes. And I think the answer to that, even after this week, is still a fairly unequivocal yes, that they are one of the best 8 or 9 teams in the National League. And thus, it probably does make sense to continue to invest in this team this season to try to make it better. But I do think I see Ryan Phillips' point as well, that if they can't start playing better on their own, one other player is not going to make a difference.
But I promise you, if there was a big trade to be made that involved a DeVries, a Salas, a Lesko, Snelling, whatever, and A.J. Preller doesn't make that trade, Padres go on and miss the playoffs, and he's relieved of his duties, he's going to regret not making that trade because he's going to do what he's got to do to save his ass.
And we've said this a million times, but Matt says it too. You painted yourself into a corner if you're A.J. Preller and the Padres with this constant adding until you get the recipe right. And the recipe really hasn't been right, but you don't stop cooking.
Right.
You keep trying.
But didn't we take the Ryan Phillips method last year by
buying on the margins, and it was horrid.
Okay, but
horrid.
Can we all agree that they've already invested a lot in Dylan Cease and in Luis Arraez?
Yeah.
And if they add another prospect, if they trade one of their top 4 prospects or 2 of their top 4 prospects, and they don't even make the playoffs, that has to be a fireable offense.
Oh, yeah.
For A.J. Preller.
I would think missing the playoffs in general, whether they make a trade or not.
If he mortgages his future and doesn't even make the playoffs, I hope that there's not even really much of a discussion at the end of the year. That is just bad GMing. Now, you can make the argument that playing for the future and being cautious and holding on to prospects, you may not like that, but that is a legitimate strategy that baseball teams take. Hey, we want to hold on to our prospects, and we're willing to take our chances with this team. And if they come close, they get close to the playoffs, and it doesn't work out, you can at least say, well, but at least they kept their prospects. If they go all in, though, and they trade more prospects and they don't make the playoffs, AJ will have to go at that point.
Sure.
Have to go at that point. He will have failed on every level of being a general manager. But he's got the opportunity to still succeed here, and we'll see how it plays out. I'll ask Eno Saris about it. Our Smart Baseball segment is coming up next with Eno from The Athletic. Do not go anywhere. More Ben and Woods next on 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the San Diego County Fair. Let's go retro at the San Diego County Fair opening June 12th. The magic of the Midway, live concerts, and a nostalgic celebration of fashion, culture, and more. Buy your tickets now online and learn more on what's happening at sdfair.com. sdfair.com. Our next guest just got back from a major craft beer festival, the best one out there, Firestone Walker. Eno Saris is going to join us right after this check traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicki Pepper.
15 north at El Cajon, the Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows an earlier accident has been cleared to the shoulder. I'm Vicki Pepper with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Eno Saris from The Athletic, and it looked like you had a really good time up there in El Paso this week. Eno, welcome back to the show.
Thanks. It was a really good time. The beers up there were so great. And the funny thing is, they were very barely beer, a lot of them. I had a thing called a painkiller sour that was given to me in a snow cone.
Oh, snow cone
delicious.
beer. It was like light green, right? I saw your picture.
Oh, that was the Baja Blast inspired sour that tasted like Mountain Dew.
Now, see, that's where it gets you. That's where it's like, man, this is going down way too smoothly. And then the next thing you know, you're in a gutter. So at least that's where I would be.
Woods can't handle his craft beer. We know this about
How
Woods.
do you pace yourself when you go to one of those?
I mean, the nice thing is the glass is really small. You have to take some time. The nice thing also about Firestone Walker in particular is that the local restaurants all bring food that's included in the price or whatever. It's not like you don't have to pay for it. So, there are little beignets and I had a lot of the calamari, and so you just got to kind of intersperse the eating with the drinking.
So now we got to get to the baseball talk, and we're all once again up in arms about our San Diego Padres. Everything seemed to be going really well. Like four days ago, they were about to get to 4 games above 500 for the first time this season. Maybe actually get a little comfortable in their wild card spot, and then they blow Sunday's game in Kansas City in the 9th inning and go out and lose 3 straight times to the Los Angeles Angels. And now it feels like, once again, we're close to hitting the panic button if we haven't already hit the panic button here in San Diego.
I mean, the thing that really stands out about this last series is how they out-hit the Angels in all 3 games in terms of just pure hits.
Yep.
And yet they lost the games. And I think what's missing right now is the power. And if you just look at, different team level statistics, they, in terms of isolated power, they're 25th. That's taking slugging and taking out average. So by batting average, they're fine. They're actually number 1 in baseball in batting average. But yeah, you guessed it. Middle of the pack in slugging, and so they're missing the power. And I think that was just evident because you got some singles, you got some doubles, but you didn't get the big blast that you needed to win the game. So I think that I hate to say the same thing I said last week, but it's like you're waiting on Tatis and Manny to get going power wise.
Who's out there, and there are people debating already, what do you need to do? And look, it's a pretty weak NL right now, with the Padres still playing this poorly and still being in a wild card position. I know it's only June, so a lot of things can change, certainly. But, the A.J. Preller has been very active in every trade deadline that we've ever seen. He's been active pre-trade deadline. He's probably working the phones right now as the rumors are pouring out about Garrett Crochet potentially being a San Diego Padre. But where would the power come from? Who is going to be actively looking to unload power, and can the Padres afford it?
There's just not a lot of obvious sellers yet. I mean, you're looking at you're looking at the Marlins and the White Sox and the Rockies and the Angels, and they don't really have a lot of power to sell. I mean, if the Angels wanted to let Taylor Ward go, I guess that's a possibility. The prize in Miami would be Jazz Chisholm, but they've got to build around something. And the White Sox are pretty barren offensively. I think they're the worst offensive club in baseball. So I don't know. Did you want to look there? I guess the big team you want to circle, the big team that Padres fans are rooting against right now would be the Blue Jays. Because the longer the Blue Jays go at the bottom of that AL East, the longer they stay below 500, the closer they get to selling. And they have two big prizes that could help. I think this team needs a little bit more Vlad Guerrero than Bo Bichette. And neither right now is, a top of the line power threat. But I think Vlad can go off and be kind of like that 30, 35 homer hitter. And I like him as a hitter. So I think that Vlad, they'd have to make room for him, but they can make room for him with that kind of a bat. And they have to get a willing partner in the Blue Jays.
I'm curious what your perspective is on a topic we discussed in the last hour. And obviously, A.J. Preller has been very aggressive and willing to trade his own prospects, maybe more so than any other general manager, and partly because he puts a lot of prospects in his system. But at what point does it make sense for a team to start, pushing more in and going for it? And at what point does it make sense to maybe hold on to the prospects and just let your guys play and see what they've got? Act earlier or act later. Be patient or be aggressive as a general manager.
I think one thing I admire A.J. Preller for is being aggressive when so much of the marketplace is passive and wants to hold on to their prospects. And the one thing that you can depend on with Preller is that good scouting eye, that ability to refill the cupboard after he trades guys away. So, if they hadn't made some of those contracts, I would think that this is a sustainable idea to kind of continue to trade prospects away and make runs for it. But for what it's worth, there are some young guys that are helping power this team in Merrill and Camposano, the ones that stayed, and so every team needs to have the ones that they keep. They need to identify the ones they keep and the ones that they're going to use versus the ones they let go. But if they can afford it, they should make a run for it because they are above 500. They are in it, and we've seen from recent, the last few postseasons that anybody can win it once you get in it.
Are we below 500?
Yeah, well, one game now.
One down.
That's
yeah,
one down.
It's fine. It's all.
You blink and this team drops below 500. That's just how it works here.
It's like a magnet.
Well, there are only 4 teams in the National League that are above 500. So they are definitely contenders for a wild card spot.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and which is why I feel like you need to add. Does Garrett Crochet do anything for you? I mean, obviously it's dependent on Joe, who's again probably Joe Musgrove's probably going to be out at least another month, and who knows? A lot of people are saying it could be a kind of a lost season for Joe, but Yu Darvish should be back and hopefully healthy there. But Garrett Crochet, I mean, you're going to be down a man in the rotation. It looks like for a considerable amount of time. Does he do anything for you? And how gnarly is that return going to be for the White Sox?
Crochet, I love Crochet as a pitcher, and in terms of what will he do the next time he goes on the mound, I think he's great. He's got a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, 2 good breaking balls in the cutter and the slider, great command, and I totally believe in him. The problem is that he's already kind of leaving behind pitch innings maximums. He's pitched 69 innings this year, and the most he's pitched as a pro is 54 in 2021. So you're kind of taking a leap of faith. Will that make the package cheaper? Maybe that would be an interesting thing. I mean, he is only under contract
until 2027. So that's this year and 2 more years.
Yeah.
That would make him pretty expensive. But if you're like, hey, I don't know how many innings we're getting from this. We're buying him thinking, how many innings? We get 40 or 50 more this year, and then another 250 or 300 more over the next 2 years.
Yeah. Which is a stretch. 300 seems like a stretch over 2 years.
I want to follow up on that because this is exactly what I was thinking. The Padres got Dylan Cease from the same team without really touching the top level of prospects. Yes, Drew Thorpe was kind of there, but is it going to be a more or less cost than Dylan Cease? Because people are saying if you want Crochet, it's going to be Snelling and or Lesko, or you might even have to touch Salas or DeVries. And I don't know that I can see doing that for a guy who, as you said, is not going to give you tons of innings.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting because Cease is a free agent a year earlier, but you might be getting the same amount of innings from either, like from the two of them, because it's going to be spread over more years. And I think it's just nerve-wracking to trade for a guy where you're like, we may have to shut him down this season, and so
and you already have that guy in King, who you're worried about with an innings total that's being jumped up this year as well.
It's going great. If you couldn't tell, it's going great. Working ourselves into a tizzy.
Well, the other guy that I suggested they could be in the mix for has just totally gone in the toilet. So don't go looking. Yes, don't go looking for Marlins Luzardo. His velo is down, and he's very velo dependent. The shapes on his pitches aren't great, so when he loses a mile per hour, it's a big deal, as you can tell from his ERA right now.
I don't know that we're feeling any better necessarily about the San Diego Padres here.
A little more clarity.
Root against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, root against the Blue Jays. There you go. That's our action item for the week.
All right, we appreciate it. We will chat with you again next Thursday. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Eno Saris, our Smart Baseball Weekly segment, always brought to you by 7 Mile Casino. Do you see players on the Blue Jays that you'd want? I mean, the guys who they've talked about and they said they're not trading right now, Vlad Jr., Bo Bichette is a name that is brought up. Bo Bichette's numbers are very mid. He's got a notable name because we all know his dad, but it's very...
No, he's been a good player. It's not because we know his dad. Well, he's been a good player. He's not having a good year, but that doesn't make him not a good player. Bo Bichette is a good baseball player, but we don't really need Bo Bichette.
All right, he has an 800 OPS career.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
effing
good.
That
is pretty good. This year 635, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, room for improvement.
But yeah, he's been better than I thought over the course of his career. 808 career OPS.
He's also probably going to be
his WAR the last 3 seasons 6, 3.6, 4.8. It's negative 0.1 this year.
He's probably going to be your Dodgers starting shortstop within 6 weeks.
So that would be the opposite of what AJ Preller usually does. He buys high. He buys Adam Frazier, leading the league in batting, and then they drop off. Bo Bichette would be a buy very low. A guy who has performed in the past but is struggling badly and hoping that when he arrives in a different, uniform, change of scenery helps turn things around for him.
There's very few players you could bring up and say, would you like this player? And I say no. You know what I mean? Like I like adding pieces. I like to see if we could potentially make a run and something would finally click. I'm glad to continue cooking in the kitchen to see if we can finally hit on the recipe that actually works and brings a little success to this team. Standing pat and hoping for Dylan Lesko in 3 years or Robbie Snelling in 2 years and DeVries in 5 years and Ethan Salas in 3 years. Awesome. Sounds great. Super fun. And watching this team just flounder? No. I'm not saying you have to trade all those guys, but there are guys out there that help this team today. And it looks like, based on injury and lack of production in other spots, you're probably going to need them.
I'll absolutely sign up for Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Oh, my God. In a second.
I like what said there. Root for the Blue Jays to fail.
Yes.
Go out and make that move. I think I said it even last year. I think I said we were talking about the home run derby. And made our picks, and I said, I'm going to take future Padre, Vlad Guerrero.
Oh, I would like to go back and pull that audio.
But aren't they failing because their group of players, which are very Padre-like players, to be...
The similarity
like a Padre already.
100%.
don't work well together. It hasn't worked well for the Blue
but
Jays.
they won't be together. They'll be separate.
They'll
You
just
trade
be
them.
joining another group of players that haven't worked that well
and
together.
Tatis love each other.
Yeah, they're tight.
They love each other.
This is a pipe dream. I don't know. I feel like it's a pipe dream.
Well, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that the Toronto Blue Jays could become major sellers.
The thing that just freaked me out about Crochet is that he's already over his career high in innings. What do you do?
That is very concerning, because if you're trading for someone like that, you need help this year. Now, maybe it makes sense for the Padres. They need a stopgap for a couple of months while
Hopefully
Darvish and Joe Musgrove get healthy. And once they do, you have a starting rotation that's fairly set, and you can back off Crochet's innings. You can even give him one of those unscheduled breaks and, save him for September and October. I don't know how that would go over with the fan base. If he's pitching well, you go, why are you shutting down a guy who's pitching great? Well, if you get, your starters back, you may not need him in the rotation the entire season. And that could save some of those innings for late in the year in October when you'd be hoping to use him. So maybe he does make some sense for the San Diego Padres right now because of that. But already over his career high in innings is absolutely a red flag.
Yes, it is.
And a sign that you could expect a drop off in performance or an injury at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's as dicey as it gets, man. So maybe tap the brakes on the Garrett Crochet addition to the San Diego Padres.
That'll be one of the topics on our roundtable coming up at 10 o'clock today.
Can't
obviously,
wait to rehash it in an hour.
When we head over to our Soundspace studio and get into some more of these issues with the San Diego Padres. Obviously, you don't want to miss it. It's commercial-free. It tends to be a lively and entertaining discussion, and I think we have the full crew this week with Tony Gwynn Jr. back from the trip to Anaheim and Kansas City, and the Padres starting a 4-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Pretty, let's face it, pretty important series here. Diamondbacks are in 4th place, but not that far behind the Padres. This would be a great opportunity for the Diamondbacks to kind of get right back into the thick of things. They see that opportunity as they come to San Diego to face the Padres. You don't want to be giving teams like the Diamondbacks and Giants more hope.
How about the Angels? Ben?
Goodness is willing to get
The
swept
Angels
by
have
teams
no
in
more
last
hope.
place.
The Angels have no more hope than they did when the Padres got there. They just have 3 more wins. That's what's frustrating. All right, Paulie's got big San Diego news in the Roundtable Report coming up next. some fun, if probably ultimately pointless, discussions of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Can they afford him? Would he stay under the luxury tax? He's making almost $20 million this year on arbitration. Have one more year available. Plus, of course, the Blue Jays have to decide they're going to actually trade players, which is why Sarah has just joined us and said you kind of want to root against the Blue Jays because you would love to see some of their players become available if you're looking to trade and actually acquire some productive people. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward. I want to get right to the Ryle report, though, because we had some big breaking San Diego sports news in this last hour, and Paulie's going to lead off with it right here. And get things started here with our today's edition of the Ryle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Ryle Report with Paul Ryle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Ryle Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
It's the Rhino Report. It's brought to you by the Frozen Ropes Summer Baseball League.
Yeah.
Frozen Ropes is now registering ball players age 6 through 12. Go to SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com for more information. Yes, we will start locally here. San Diego FC with some big news. Just about an hour ago now, this morning, they have signed 28-year-old Mexican international star Chucky Lozano, and he's going to be making his debut for the club in 2025. And the team announced there's going to be a fan fest and a meet and greet with Lozano next Thursday, 6 p.m. is when the doors open. It's going to be a 7:30 event start time at the Rady Shell. He's also going to do a press conference, I believe, that same day in the morning over at Snapdragon Stadium. And the team welcomed him, or made the announcement, I should say, on their social media channels with this video here that I'm about to play right now. It's got an anime feel to it.
The ground is exploding.
And there he is.
Oh, number 22.
See you soon, San Diego.
He's a handsome fella, man. Look at this guy. I like this guy. I know nothing about him. Nothing.
So I'll tell you a little.
My ignorance. I hear he's very good.
I'll tell you a little bit more about him. As Paulie said, 28 years old. He's kind of diminutive. A little taller than Jose Altuve, but not a ton. He's Adam
Klug.
He's a shorter guy on the field, but he has been very successful in his pro career wherever he's gone. His Dutch team, his team in Naples, Italy, they've all won the title. His Mexican League team, when he was first getting started in his pro career, they all won championships with him on the team. And coaches always say this guy is the difference maker and the winner.
You play outfield.
And he is
perhaps
he is going to be the face of the franchise for San Diego FC. Kind of like Messi is now the face of the franchise in Miami for the new professional soccer team, MLS team in San Diego. This is going to be the guy, at least for the first, few seasons of franchise history. It's going to be Chucky's team, and now they're going to have to put, pieces around him, and you probably won't know a lot of the other players, but this is the guy who's going to be on all the billboards and the posters and is a notable name, especially south of the border where he's been on the Mexican national team. They're anticipating he will draw more fans, obviously, from that fan base and hopefully create a winner like he's done everybody else, which will, I would think, draw in some of the casuals, sports fans here in San Diego who have been craving a winner. It's a lot easier to get behind a team that wins right away. And this, they're thinking, gives the team a better chance to win right away.
You need to make a splash, right? With the new...
this is a splash. Yeah. This is definitely, he's going to make, I think, they're paying his team $12 million in a transfer fee, and he's going to make $7 million a year in salary. So this is a major signing for a league that doesn't have as many high-paid players as like Major League Baseball or the NBA. The big deal for San Diego FC to get Chucky Lozano. and he will join the team in January ahead of their expansion debut next February.
Nice. Very
Tier
cool.
ones are weighing in. Ricardo says best Mexican superstar in his prime. Huge get. And then the opposite of that, somebody DM'd us and said he's a bum. Don't believe the hype.
Okay.
So there we go.
So there's a wide range of opinions. Let's just say.
Perfect.
I love sports.
Can't make everybody happy.
So stupid.
All right, we'll move from football to football. Saw yesterday in the NFL that the Browns announced that they have signed head coach Kevin Stefanski and their general manager Andrew Berry to contract extensions. It says here that the lengths of the deals were not announced, and ESPN wrote that since 2020, the Browns have the highest winning percentage for their team over a 4-year stretch in team history. So the team has been competitive, and they thought, all right, we finally got our guys.
Yeah.
And then I saw this from somebody that covers the Browns. Nick Carnes says, words cannot properly state the vicious 3-decade cycle Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski have just broken. For the first time since the Cleveland Browns returned to the NFL in 1999, an entire regime has been extended. The Cleveland Browns are back.
Wow. Since when?
Since 99. Since they came back to Cleveland.
Dude. Yeah,
They have not had a coach GM tandem that got an extension, a second run.
Sound familiar?
A little bit.
The Browns have obviously, taken some nice steps forward, and that what usually happens for coaches and GMs when their teams play well, they get extensions. I think the stunning part of this, though, is that Andrew Berry, correct me if I'm wrong, the GM who traded and then gave an entirely guaranteed deal to Deshaun Watson, which has to go down as one of the worst football decisions in the history of football, has somehow overcome this to put a successful team on the field and get an extension on his job.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because trading for Deshaun Watson, imagine how good they could be had they not traded for Deshaun Watson and give him an insane amount of money. Because they didn't need him. They played great without him for the most part since he arrived.
Stefanski, a 2-time Coach of the Year.
He just swept that under the rug. Well, a lot under the rug with Deshaun Watson. A lot.
Yeah.
But the actual signing of him and so many draft picks, so much money. And they're like, everybody swings and misses a couple times.
You made 99 really good decisions and one insanely horrible
bad
one, apparently, as general manager.
Yeah, that's fascinating, honestly, when you step back and look at how bad of a move that was, and yet they've overcome it.
Yep.
All right, and then finally here, I don't remember if we ever actually talked about it, but Red Lobster was reportedly going out of business.
Yeah, I think they are going out of business, aren't
bankrupt. They had too much of the free shrimp, I think, is what was being blamed.
That's what they said, but
it's also
there's a deeper story behind Red Lobster's failures.
But
eat so much shrimp.
I want to give some credit to Flavor Flav. Love Flavor Flav. And he's doing his part to try to help keep Red Lobster going, keep them afloat. Posted on social media, your boy meant it when I said I was going to do anything and everything to help at Red Lobster and save the Cheddar Bay biscuits. Ordered the whole menu, and it's a picture of him at his dining room or whatever with a table full of Red Lobster. I mean, he ordered one of everything on their menu. Now, I appreciate
even
it.
the lobster lovers duo.
I don't know that that's going to help them with their bankruptcy.
I think he was really maybe stoned and hungry and decided this will also be a really good bit. Not going to save Red Lobster, unfortunately. You'd need millions.
Creamy crab carbonara? No.
You've never been there, have you?
No. I've heard the biscuits.
You've never been there
there.
either?
No.
I got really stoned and went and did the all-you-can-eat shrimp thing one time. It's pretty good.
Not bad.
Pretty good. The biscuits are phenomenal.
The Admiral's Feast, Woods. Walt's favorite shrimp, wild-caught flounder, clam strips, and bay scallops, all crisped to a golden brown. That is one very fried plate of food right there. I'll have the fried fish along with the fried clams, along with the fried shrimp, along with the fried scallops, and a side of fries, please.
Yes, it's delicious. Wonder why we have a
There's
health problem in this country.
Nothing green on the plate. And the only thing that's not fried is the ketchup.
Yeah.
That you can dip
Fried
everything
ketchup.
in. And the tartar sauce is white.
Yeah, I was never the world's biggest Red Lobster fan.
I'm trying to think of what, there were so many chain restaurants like that. They were always, at least the several towns that I've lived in, they all seem to kind of be together.
Yeah, they're all together.
There's like an Olive Garden. There's a Red Lobster.
Chili's.
There's usually like a Claim Jumper.
Applebee's.
Yeah.
I like things at all of them though. Like I like the biscuits at Red Lobster. Are stunning.
I'm not hating on Red Lobster. I've just never been there.
I'm an elitist when it comes to fish restaurants. I just feel like you go to a big chain, Long John Silver's or Red Lobster, you're just getting low quality frozen fish.
you're
probably
you're not getting.
How can they make on the margins? They can't be giving you the fresh line caught right from the harbor stuff. There's no way. It doesn't work. Supply chains don't work that way.
Yeah, no, it's there's a lot of food. You get a lot of food for your money when you do the all-you-can-eat shrimp. And I did have fun that day doing it, but I don't think I went back. I think I went once, and I don't think I ever went back. Biscuits were phenomenal. Phenomenal.
We should
Cheddar
order.
Bay biscuits.
We should DoorDash. Would it be here by the end of the show? Some Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Have you never tried them?
Try them.
I'll do it if they're still around.
They're probably not open
Where
at 9
is the
a.m.
nearest Red Lobster?
There used to be one by the sports arena. I don't know if it's open or it's still there, but I am curious to try the biscuits.
All right, I'm gonna look. Carry on.
San Diego. I'm looking.
I got it right here. Let's go.
Mira Mesa Boulevard and Sports Arena.
Yeah, there's still one by the sports arena.
You got to see if they're in the area.
They don't open till 11.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna guess.
Who wants
no.
lobster at 9?
Flavor Flav?
Me? I don't know. I could do lobster at 9 a.m. I probably.
I mean, the
could.
pictures of this look pretty good. I can't deny it.
Well, the pictures always look
They
good.
do. This looks really tasty, man.
If your pictures don't look good, that's a real red flag. If they can't even make the picture of their food look good, then there's no hope that the actual food looks good. I mean, fast food, hamburgers look delicious on the billboard. They don't look anything like that in real life.
All right, sorry. 11 o'clock, maybe another time.
Chat says Mira Mesa closed.
Oh, good.
There's one in the Chula Vista Mall if you want to go later. All right, let's take a time out. Paulie's got some Throwback Thursday for us still coming up, involving a couple of cameos.
We've had some fun with cameos
That
over
we've
the years.
that we've got. So we'll get to that coming up. Look ahead. Got a new homestand starting tonight for your San Diego Padres. All coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. And it's brought to you by the San Diego County Fair. Share your memories from the 50s to the 90s for the Let's Go Ruh-Roh photo contest at the San Diego County Fair. Your winning photo could be the best of show and earn you VIP fair access, a package plus a $500 Visa gift card. The entry deadline, June 9th. That's like 3 days from now. Learn more at sdfair.com. All right, we've spent a lot of time talking about the Padres' struggles in Anaheim. I hope it's a blip and the Padres can turn it around like they did when they got swept by the Rockies, because they did actually turn it around after getting swept by the Rockies. You can't keep asking a team to have to respond to getting swept by bad teams, though. Eventually, you do this enough, you're going to torpedo your entire season. That's why Manny said, we're going to regret. We're going to regret this.
They're going to haunt us.
I mean, in some way or not, the 6 losses against the Rockies and the Angels, they may not keep you out of the playoffs. Hopefully they don't.
Yeah.
But they'll probably, at the very least, if you were going to be the 2 seed, you'll be the 3 seed instead. If you were going to be the 1 seed, you'll be the 2 seed. There's almost no way that 6 games in the standings
affect you at all.
are not going to affect you at all at the end of the season. So
it makes it you just the whole
that
man,
ship has sailed.
The only thing I see when I watch series like I just watched is I just see the hole just getting a little deeper, and then have you ever had to claw out of a hole, proverbial, like a metaphorical hole? You're like, man, in my life, I take 2 steps forward, and then I get in trouble, and this happens. I finally get back to where I need to be, and that was, Benny, that was the way I lived my life for like 15 years. Like 15 years. And the thought of it makes my stomach churn. And it's like, no, man, 1 small, tiny step ahead is better than 2 dramatic steps behind. And it's certainly not a fun watch for the fan base. No one is expecting this team to go out and win every game, but you are expecting them to handle business. And they just have not proven over the last even couple years that they can handle their business. That's it. I'm not mad at you. You got swept by the Phillies. I'm not mad at you that you lost 2 or 3 to the Yankees. I'm not. Those are elite teams. We're not there yet. But I am pissed that you couldn't win a game against the Rockies or the Angels.
Well,
not
I
even
do agree with
game.
you. When you show that you can win 5 out of 8 against the Dodgers, and you can take the season series from the Cubs and take 3 of 4 from the Braves, you do have to be able to then win those other series.
I understand.
Will every team have a blip here or there? Of course. The Yankees, they will have a blip at some point during their season. The Padres' blips are too frequent.
They're too frequent, yes.
That's what we're saying. I'm not going to dispute Mike Schultz's notion that every team is going to have just baseball happens and bad teams beat good teams all the time. That is true. It happens too often to the Padres.
Well, and it's happened for too long.
Yes.
That's the other thing. This is not some, what did he call it last night? An outlier? It's not. It's not an outlier, man. This has been a year and a half, 2 years. It's a defining quality of this
Padres
team. Yes.
Last year it was that Royals.
It's an outlier for sure.
It's not, though. That's the thing.
Clearly we've got the team to beat anybody.
And I understand, I guess, his perspective of like, well, I wasn't here. I wasn't running this team last year. It's an outlier for us.
He actually was.
But you were close enough. You saw it.
He saw it. Yeah, so
You're not unaware of what happened.
That should help form your narrative, no?
It should.
Right. We've said it to him before. We've told him, Mike, you said it a couple weeks ago. Like, Mike, you got to understand where this fan base is coming from. And us as fans, you got to understand where they're coming from. Mediocrity has set in.
I will remain open to the idea that what Mike Schultz says to us publicly is not necessarily what he says to his team privately.
I'm open to that as well.
And I can't be mad about a guy who publicly backs his team and his players, because that's not the worst thing to have.
That's fine, but
in a manager.
Do you get the sense that those convos are happening? Because I still see the same weird mistakes. And I know I'm harping on base running today. It's just what's top of mind. If you're chewing guys out for poor base running, I guess it's true. I do it to the tier ones, and we continue to be the worst base running team I've ever seen. And I'm up their ass I find them, Ben. That's how bad we are at base running. I find the tier ones $10 for their mistakes.
The biggest mistake yesterday was the lack of hitting.
Well, and the base running.
Extra
early.
base hits. Well, there was one base running mistake.
Yes,
yesterday.
huge one.
It was a big one. But the biggest mistake, you could have won that game still handily had you gotten the job done against an okay pitcher in Jose Soriano. Now, they did some things well. They made contact well. They only struck out once. So they're putting the ball in play.
Just hitting it in the ground.
So what are you doing wrong when you continue to put the ball in play, but it doesn't result in good things happening for your team?
Launch angle?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. And again, I don't necessarily say the answer is to swing harder and strike out more so that when you do make contact, you hit more home runs, but there's some sort of element to that. There's got to be a balance, right? You don't have to be a team that is all about contact and batting average. Padres #1 in batting average. And you don't have to be a team that strikes out 16 times a game, but will hit 2 home runs and hopefully that's enough. Can't you be the team that does a little bit of both?
Sure.
All the time? Just, we hit well, we hit for average, but we're willing to put the ball in the seats every now and then. It doesn't have to be all or nothing every single time.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Throwback Thursday. Paulie's got a couple of clips, both from 2 years ago when the cameo craze was maybe at its height.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, at least for this first one. This was the date that we discussed it and played it on our show. So that's what we're rolling with. This one came in the final score thread of a Padres game that we saw, and it features one first baseman for the New York Mets, Pete Alonso.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Pete Alonso with the New York Mets, and if you're watching this, you just lost to the San Diego Padres.
Saw that. I remember we did a full segment about it because we're like, dude, does he need money? Is everything okay?
The Padres had just beaten the Mets, and that shows up in the final score thread.
Somebody probably buys it in like January.
Yeah, you buy it in spring training or whatever for $69 or whatever, and you got Pete Alonso forever saying, hey, this is Pete Alonso. You just lost to the San Diego Padres. It's not like
we're on Cameo. There's not a gun to your head. Like if you don't do this one,
correct.
You're fired from Cameo. You can say no to any request that they put in.
You see exactly what is requested of you. Like he's got to know this is going to come back to me at some point.
Unless he just doesn't care. He's just like, I don't care. It's fun. Unless he's just having fun.
I'm Pete Alonso with the New York Mets, and if you're watching this, you just lost to the San Diego Padres.
It'd be like us doing a promo. Hey, it's Ben and Woods. Make sure to listen to Dave, Shelley, and Chainsaw on KGB. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, are you kidding? Our boss come running in, beating us over the head with a hammer.
Hey, we needed the $70.
Yeah, we got $70 out of that deal, bro. You can actually get a Ben and Woods cameo. $69 is what we charge. And the reason we charge $69 should be obvious.
70 seemed too much.
70 seemed way too much.
68, not
68, not enough. It's a good price point because if we did like $12, I'd be doing cameos all day, and I don't want to do that. So $69 means you're really committed. You really want it.
If we did
really
$100, like who the hell do we think we are?
Who do you guys think you are? F-level celebrities.
And we'll give it the normal level of cameo thought. We'll talk for like 2 minutes.
We do really good.
How do you want to do this?
Yeah.
And then we'll pour our heart.
Yeah, $69.
Ben did a whole Ben Reads Raps on one of them.
He really did. He did. It was so cool.
All right, and then this other cameo from this week in 2022. It's titled Chet Hanks.
This is brilliant.
Birthday shout out. And I had to go back and listen. I remember how freaking funny this was. We talked about Chet Hanks recently. I think it was that thread, that text thread that him and his dad.
His dad explaining the beef between Kendrick and Drake. Right? Yeah.
Tom Hanks saying, "Hey, Big Mane," to his son.
Hey, Big Mane, can you explain the beef to me?
And so here was a shout out on Cameo from Chet Hanks, which just floored all of us.
Yo, Josh, what up, man? It's Chet Hanks. This is from your boy Doug. Doug told me you're turning 43, bro. And I just wanted to say, big up your bomber class here for us 43 years around the world. John O'Star. I heard you won an Oscar for a animated movie. Look, man, I do voice acting too.
Oh my God.
Maybe create some sort of Rasta character, a cartoon. I got other accents too. Cockney. Oh, I love. How you doing? Love you. Man, I could do a bunch of accents.
Totally.
Bro. Clearly. You name it. I'll get it done. If you create a cartoon character, put me in your next movie, bro. I'm dead ass serious about that. Anyway, have a great 43rd birthday, bro. And congratulations. More life.
Chet Hanks, the son of
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson.
He's out there begging for jobs of voice acting.
Do you think like
Doug.
his parents
That's my favorite part.
like took him to like Jamaica for
When he was
like when
12?
he was like 10
He got
or
the
11
hair braided and was
he
like,
just was
"This
like
is it for me.
fascinated.
This is it."
This is what I want to do with my life. And given that I don't have to worry about money my entire life, I can just choose to do what I want. And what I want is to be a Rastafarian.
You live in Beverly Hills. We took a $1 billion helicopter to get here.
I mean, what would you do with your life if you were?
I just wanted to say, big up your bomber class here, Ross 40.
40. I hate it so much.
If
dude.
Young Woods,
look at the hair. Look at the hair on my arm. It's standing straight up. Oh! If Young Woods
was given the opportunity, like, you know what? You don't have to ever worry about money. You just do what you're passionate about your entire life. What would you have done?
Well, apparently Chet does need to worry about money. He's
begging for
pitching himself
jobs.
for a job on a Cameo, which I don't even know how much.
Good for him. He doesn't want to live off dad's fortune his entire life.
Chet Hanks.
Would you have gone into baseball? Would you have gone into music? Even if you didn't have the talent for it?
Well, I've already been in music and I've already been in baseball. So, like, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done. I probably would not have made it.
He's currently unavailable on Cameo.
I honestly, if I had no reason to work, I always liked working, but if I had like a trust fund of like millions of dollars that I had access to, I wouldn't be here. There's no way I would have
straight up your nose.
I wouldn't have made it. There's no chance. I had no discipline, zero, and there's no way I would have made it. What would you have done?
I probably would be like trying to be a professional golfer very unsuccessfully because I don't have the talent for it.
Well,
but
I think
knowing that I don't have to worry about it, might as well just practice all day and
I think
take lessons.
If I had it now, now I would just travel with my kids. That's what I would do.
Now I think I have the realization. Even if like you just want $1 billion in the lottery, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to be I couldn't be a professional golfer.
No,
I know
correct,
I don't have the skills for
Big
that.
up your bomber class here, Ross 40.
But you'd think Chet Hanks also should know he doesn't have the skills to be
I love that one.
A Jamaican reggae musical artist either.
The best part is he goes, "Hey, he's from your buddy Doug."
Yo, Josh, what up, man? It's Chet Hanks. This is from your boy Doug. Doug. Told me you're turning 43, bro. And I just wanted to say, big up your bomber class here, Ross 40.
Look at the hair. Every time, look at the hair on my arm. Look, you can see it.
Doug is a funny name.
It is. Doug. Chet is amazing. God, that's so good.
What's your name? Doug. Like you dug a ditch. Doug. Yeah, but there's an O in there too.
It's so good.
Doug.
Thank you for. I needed that laugh so bad, Paulie.
Doug.
I needed. I hope one of our tier ones is named Doug, and you ask us to do a cameo so that I can do that for you.
Yo, Josh, what up, man? It's Chet Hanks. This is from your boy Doug. I
would like to hang out with him for a night. See how that goes.
All right, we're going to take a timeout.
It's so good.
Ooh, a great comment in the chat that I'm going to read when we come back. Next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Feel like I speak a lot. I mean, we're on 21 hours a week if you include the upcoming roundtable.
Yes, sir.
But sometimes I don't feel like we're being heard.
We're not being heard. It's fine. I'm starting to realize that the more and more I do this on a daily basis, I just realize you're going to hear what you want to hear. I heard a comment today. There's a guy that did a podcast and had a guy that we know pretty well. We used to have him on our show a lot. And this my buddy, it was Craig Meddy. I love Craig Meddy, but he was on this podcast and he goes, no one from 97.3 The Fan ever bitches at the players. But I mean, I don't know. I don't listen to 97.3 The Fan anymore. And I'm like, Cash Meddy's my boy. I wanted to text him and go, Cash, you just said he said, I don't listen to 97.3 The Fan anymore, but none of those guys ever rip the players. Well, how do you know we don't rip the players if you don't listen to 97.3 The Fan anymore? Because I spent my morning yesterday screaming at the players. I spent my morning this morning screaming at the players. I literally only blame the players. It's literally only their fault. It is only their fault. Period. The end. It's the only 26 people that can change the narrative of the San Diego Padres it's not Mike Schilt, it's not AJ Preller. It's
Both
the
of those
players.
guys will have 0 at-bats and 0 innings pitched.
Correct.
For the Padres this year.
There are 26 guys that can completely flip the narrative of this team, and they all are going to be on the bench tonight and back at Petco Park.
The GM puts together the roster,
Sure.
and the manager can make some decisions that impact the team on the margins. Ultimately, though, I agree with you.
Do you know how many good...
Even if it's a controversial decision.
100%.
It's still on the player.
Do you know how many teams have overcome poor management or poor GMing? A lot. A lot have.
Here's why I agree with you, especially. AJ Preller, for his strengths and weaknesses, has put together players that we know can do spectacular things.
Correct.
Because they've done it in their career.
Correct.
Tatis has hit 40-plus home runs. Manny has been an MVP runner-up for this San Diego Padres team. Xander Bogaerts has been an outstanding player. He didn't project. He didn't hope like, hey, if I sign this guy, no one's ever heard of, and I think he can hit 35 home runs. And then you're wrong. You go, all right, well, you just don't have an eye for it. All these guys have done it before. So the fact that they're not doing it now is on them, right? That it's on them. They're not performing up to their capabilities.
Yeah.
And they're cursed with capabilities that we know exist. Manny's been hurt. I will definitely give some at least time and patience to see if Manny can get healthy. Tatis seems pretty healthy. Not quite the player he's been, but I know there's more in there.
Getting better. Yep.
I know that there's more in there, and those capabilities are why I feel like it's on the players. If you're not playing up to your capabilities, it's not the GM's fault. It's not the coach's fault. You're
listen,
a professional player.
If you're a football team and you have an elite pocket passing quarterback and really quick wide receivers with great hands on the outside, and you run the ball 100 times a game and grind out 6-3 victories or 6-3 losses, that's not on the players. They're not calling the plays, correct? You guys all agree? There's an offensive coordinator or a head coach or whatever that puts the offense together. Football, you're calling the plays, right? You can put together the best game plan in basketball, but if the shot's not falling, the shot's not falling, right? I mean, but in baseball, man, you put out your best possible lineup with the tools that you've been given, and then it's on those guys to execute. It's one of the things I've loved the most about this game. Golf is also very similar. Golf, it is not your swing coach's fault. It is not the gallery's fault. It's not your sponsor's fault. It's your fault. If you didn't win that tournament or play well, there is nobody else to blame. And if I'm on the mound and I'm getting crushed, that's my fault. Dylan Cease pitched well last night, but his location, they talked about on the broadcast, his location was off. Velo was great. Velo was good. Slider was biting. Location was off a tick. Different ball game altogether. That's on Dylan Cease. It's not on Ruben Niebla. It's not on the Padres fans. It's certainly not on the media. It's always going to be player dependent. Always. They're the ones that get paid to do it. You want to start giving me the blame? Start giving me a quarter of your salary. All these guys.
So
give me a break.
I'm going to read this comment, and then I'm going to say one thing, and I'm going to say it for the last time, and I'm not going to say it again. Michael in the chat writes, Ben, Woods, and Paul are in absolute denial. The Padres are a cursed baseball team, period. Year after year after year, we're talking about the same old thing. We're not in denial. we all said this is
500 team.
Around a 500 team that if they exceed expectations slightly, will have a chance to make the playoffs.
Correct.
Right now, they are one game under 500. We're actually very much living in reality of what the San Diego Padres are and what we expected them to be. Please do not try to tell us that we sold you some amazing team that you're disappointed in. Now, if you want us to own it from last year,
I will. I wear it. Here, pelt me with this. Throw this at me as hard as you can.
We were wrong. Last year, we expected the team to be quite good.
Take the egg, smash it all over my face.
Perhaps even a World Series contender or winner.
100%. That's on me. I oversold those.
You were wrong.
Those guys. I was wrong.
I was wrong. Paul was maybe a little less wrong, but still wrong. Everyone else on this radio station was wrong. Everybody else at radio stations that compete with us were wrong. All the TV anchors in town were wrong. The writers in town were wrong. Guess what? The national media that has nothing to do with the San Diego Padres that said last year's team looks like a juggernaut. They were all wrong too. So yes, we are in a big, large boat, a giant Titanic-sized boat of people who were wrong about last year's Padres. And we will own that. But we're not telling you that this is a great team. Never did. Nothing has changed our opinion. They played some decent baseball at stretches this year.
Some damn good
they played
baseball,
some bad
some fun baseball. Yeah.
Right now, they look like around a 500 team.
Yep.
Could they be a little bit better? The National League's not as good as I thought.
It's really not.
That gives them a chance to maybe make the playoffs. Is it possible that if you make the playoffs, you can go on an amazing run? Yeah, because we've seen that happen a number of times. The Diamondbacks weren't an amazing team last year. Got to the World Series. Is that possible? Yes. Is it also possible the Padres will flounder and finish 5 games, 6 games under 500? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's very much in the realm of possibility here. And anyone who tells you otherwise, they're wearing some rose-colored glasses. Yeah. But if they're also telling you there's no way this Padres team could possibly finish with 86 wins and make the playoffs, then you're not watching the sport. Of course this team can do that. They could do that. They could also miss the playoffs. Depends on how the players play on the field from this point forward.
Play. I mean, that's it. The only guy that can change those narratives, they all wear a uniform. Honestly.
I'm not in denial. I promise you. Check traffic, and then we'll wrap things up here on 97.3 The Fan.
What a fun show.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicki Pepper.
This report brought to you by Liberty Mutual. 15 south at Loma Santa Fe, a crash clear to the shoulder. There's still some looky-loo traffic there. I'm Vicki Pepper with Ben & Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hi, we're Comparing Insurance Agency. Never heard of us? We know. But to help it stick that our local agents are insurance experts, we're going to say local agent 3 times in the next 5 seconds. Local agent. Local agent. Local agent.
Find us at comparinginsurance.com.
Padres open a 4-game series tonight at 6:40 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Sammy Levitt will have your Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show at 5:40 today. Randy Vasquez will make the start for the Padres. And if you're going, Randy Vasquez, Padres could be in trouble. He is the last pitcher to actually pitch a win for the San Diego Padres on Saturday against the Kansas City Royals. Slade Ciccone will be the starting pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Padres did face him, if I remember correctly, earlier in this season. And, of course, the moment I need to call up his game log, my computer crashes. But he is 1-4 this year with a 5.59 ERA. And I'm pretty sure the Padres beat him when they faced him. But things are going very slowly right now on my computer. Oh, that's because the battery's dying. Because I accidentally knocked out the plug, apparently. There we go. Yes, they beat him 7-1 on May 3rd. So a little over a month ago. Scored 6 runs off of him in 4 1/3 innings. So, pitcher they've had success against. They will be facing tonight at Petco Park in the first of 4 against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, analysis means nothing. So with this team, absolutely nothing. Go out, try to. The way this team's constructed, they're going to need to score more runs than their opponent to win a ball game, as the great John
correct.
Smoltz once told me.
You are correct in your analysis.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not going to win many games when you're scoring 1 and 2 and
or
1.
Fewer than your opponent.
Yeah.
Those are tough. Scoring fewer runs than your opponent, those games are tough to win.
Correct.
Right? Yes. Most obvious statement of all time. But now, so here we go. Got to get it going. Got to get it going against the D-backs ASAP. But just can't predict. There's no prediction to this team. They could come out and look phenomenal. They could come out and look sloppy. Hope that they don't. We really needed that narrative of them playing great on the road to hold up. It didn't. So now we need to flip the narrative of playing poorly at home and go out there and win a ball game against
narratives
the
get flipped all the time in a baseball season.
They really do, man. That's exactly it.
That's a very common thing that happens in a baseball season.
Yep.
You know, you hope that the bad narratives are the ones that get flipped, not the good ones.
Correct.
But it can happen either way. So we just saw a good narrative get flipped on the Padres when they did poorly on the road. Maybe they can flip one of the bad narratives. Manny went deep in that game. That wasn't off of Ciccone, but Tatis hit a home run off Ciccone, and Cronenworth hit a home run off of Ciccone in that game on May 3rd. So maybe an example of success in the past will propel the Padres to some success in the future tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
How's the rest of your day look?
Well, I've got a roundtable host for an hour,
9 minutes,
and then
I'll be with you.
I've got work. I've got Tom Penn, the CEO of the San Diego FC, coming in to talk about the Chucky Lozano signing tonight at Channel 10. So I'll do that interview during the NBA Finals game, which will air on ABC 10 tonight. So I don't have an early show. We'll be on after the game at like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Celts Mavs.
Celts Mavs, game one. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the first game.
Celts going to be pretty heavily favored?
They are like plus 220 or minus 225, I think, and the Mavs are like plus 180, although more money is coming in on the Mavs. The underdogs are getting a lot of the money. I think there's some skepticism around the Celtics that they're not sure. They haven't played anybody really in the playoffs healthy. A lot of just a kind of an easy road, and the Mavericks have been more tested, but ultimately Boston was the best team throughout the year, and they should win this series, but Doncic is probably the best player in the series, so we'll see how that plays out.
Should be fun. I'll watch some.
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
Parents get in today from Texas with my brother and my nephews.
Are they Mavs fans now that they live there?
My dad, yeah,
goes to some games.
He's more of a Stars guy. He loves the Stars.
They missed out on the finals.
They missed out on the finals, so they get in. So I'll do this roundtable, marriage counseling, and then my parents come.
Sounds like a great day.
It's going to be super fun and stress-free, and a lot of me.
Well, you got more of Woods coming up next. He's got his 97.3 The Fan polo shirt on, which can mean only one thing.
It's roundtable time.
It is a roundtable Thursday. The rest of the crew is gathering over in our
pizza right now.
Sound space, stuffing their face with pizza. We get like 4 minutes, like 3.5 minutes to eat a slice. And set up, and then return for the commercial-free hour.
I hope you and Tony Gwynn Jr. go at it today.
I'm ready to go.
Yes, I like that.
I hope Tony kicks your ass.
If these guys lose tonight, we're replaying the roundtable at 6 a.m., just so you know. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Good call. All right, Paul, you enjoy the rest of your day. Woodsy, I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Everyone, stick around. Our commercial-free roundtable is coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. And then we'll talk to you again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.